It's almost go time. What's going on, family? Welcome to The Solution on the Lapeef Experience. Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Miss Kelly Convos, B. Taylor, Trigger Mike, Miss TV, Sayer, Queen Sheba, Balance, me, myself, I'm Lapeef J.I. Welcome to The Solution. What's going on, family?
Hey, what's up?
I'm going to call you Fola.
Hey.
Hello.
I'm just going to call you Fola.
Look, I laugh. I heard you slip up like,
Who is Fola?
He messed up my name, y'all. He had it down packed behind the scenes. It's like,
How do you pronounce it? Say it correctly so we say it right.
I would say the American way, Falashade.
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 Write that down. Don't say it wrong.
Don't get on your case.
I'm going to get on her.
That sounds sexy.
Day, right? It does. It's like Sade, but
that's the American way. What's the other way?
Right before you kiss them, Falashade.
Yes, right?
Yes. Don't sleep on me, honey, on a Monday.
Right? Hello, my name's Falashade.
Perfume, Falashade.
Yes, a perfume.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking. Or a sexy smoothie.
That's the American way, but tell us what's the correct way, just in case we're curious.
Falashade.
Falashade.
Okay.
Where is that from? Where is that derived?
Nigeria.
Are you Nigerian?
Mm.
You should come on Wednesdays. Falashade. So I can say it right. Falashade, and that is Nigerian. Did you know Trigger Mike is from Nigeria?
No.
Tell him your Nigerian name.
Why he was getting on your case.
So you want me to dox myself?
Yeah.
After people already have my first name.
What's your first name?
Okay. I mean, I can't really go through all 6 of my Nigerian names right now. So.
Hi.
I feel you, Mike.
And Lapeef over here is half Nigerian.
Oh, we know.
Yes.
What's the other half?
He works all day long. That was the first indicator.
That's Jamaican.
No.
Nigerian and Jamaican.
Nigerians are worse.
Uh-oh. Don't be pissing off the... Okay.
I don't think you want to start a war on this panel. Actually. So
we could.
You kind of tread lightly over here. I think we kind of dominant over here. And I already know which side Kelly on, so there you go.
Lapeef.
All back. You guys just tuning in. Welcome to The Solution. Let's see what we got going on here. If you guys haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I see Tap, the accountability partner, is in the house. Dating to marriage, Miss Nurse Fancy. She came and dropped the news that R. Kelly charges are dropped. I had to Google that when I saw that a little bit earlier, but I'm not surprised. I think I spoke with a couple of people and they said that Chicago would do that, but I don't think he's off the hook federally as well as the other states. So I guess we have to stay tuned and see, but I'm pretty sure everybody be talking about it tomorrow and tonight. Rodney Dunn, Isaiah, salute to you. Again, if you guys are just tuning in, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Welcome to The Solution. We're going to dive right into our first topic. of the night, which is we'll never get nowhere pointing the finger. We'll never get nowhere pointing the finger. And because we are in this space, I'm pretty sure most of you guys probably thought that we was talking about the gender war, right? But we're not talking about the gender war. We are talking about in relationships. And I do have a clip to support what we're going to be discussing. So everything okay, Kelly? We need to get HR involved?
No, you said it's not gender war, it's relationships. I was wondering if that's not like related.
That's gender war junior. Gender war light.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like a light beer. It's not a full beer.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Not talking to all women, you're talking to your woman. It's just a little difference.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, thank you, my fellow Nigerian brother.
Yeah. You are welcome. Hey, you are welcome.
All right, y'all, here's the clip.
Hold on. If I'm talking to you about an issue I have, let's address that issue. Don't deflect by saying, and what about you? We can't get nowhere pointing the fingers with no solutions. Let me get mine out and we fix that. Then you get yours out and we fix that issue. But bringing up something you could have been spoke on only because I spoke on something, let me know you was holding what you had as ammo.
When I saw this, I thought this was very important, seeing how this is the solution, right? How many times do we see so often when we have these conversations and the focus should be on great communication? But unfortunately, in the relationships of today, not yesterday, but today, we often run into this problem where the issue is not getting resolved. There are a lot of things that are coming in between for you guys to resolve whatever issue it may be. So I thought this was a very important topic to discuss. I do want to get you guys' thoughts. Don't think because you see two men up here that we're going to back down. We're going to be able to speak up and speak loud. That's what we do.
Is that what you thought when you saw the video?
That's what I thought.
I thought he was one of Santa's helpers.
What?
Mike, they're trying to derail the conversation already. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go to Queen Sheba first. Go ahead and shed a little bit of light on this.
Listen, I'm very shocked for a young man of that age to be able to bring that level of just wow to the conversation. He's absolutely correct. The only thing I want to correct you on, Lapeef, is that you said in these days. That's occurred from grandma to here to now. And my grandma used to call it tit for tat. We're not going to go tit for tat, that's where I find the courage to come to you. And then you say, well, now that you say it, I have a problem with you. And I think he makes absolute sense in a relationship. If your partner, if your wife, if your girlfriend, if you're whoever, your man, your daughter, your son has found the courage to come to you to say, here's what I'm faced with. Here's what it's like dealing with you on a day-to-day basis. That's their space. That's their time. Let them have that moment. And once you're able to process that and tell them or share with them what you've heard, and they feel, okay, seen, valued, heard. And then if they say, is there anything you want to offer to me by way of feedback? Then you sound off. But I think we got that real bad. And I think it's a defense mechanism. And I've seen it a lot in men. They look, and men, let me tell you why. Men don't normally initiate tough topics about women because most men feel like women can't handle the truth, which is probably true in most cases. But since you're talking about it, most men will say, now that you say that, you're not all that anyway, or you're not and you did that. That's what as a married woman, right? I'm not talking no boyfriend, girlfriend stuff. I'm talking about when a man becomes very comfortable with you and when a man really loves you and he doesn't want to hurt you. Most men don't initiate uncomfortable conversations with women unless you initiate them first. So that's my 10 cents on that.
That's interesting. B. Taylor, we'll go to you next. What are your thoughts about this?
I immediately thought about the Black parent dynamic with their children. Like, how many of us have came to like our mom and told her something that she has probably done to hurt us, and they like deflect back and what we didn't do and why they act like it's like no accountability, right? And then we take that same like dynamic and put that into a relationship. And it's people that I find that do that, it's because they feel attacked. They're like, oh, you want to come to me about all these issues you have about me? Well, let me tell you about issues that I have about you as well. And they feel like that's the time to bring it up. And like, it's not just like Queen Sheba said, like, you know, hear them out, listen to what they have to say. Like, if you didn't say it then, don't wait until there's an argument, because now it is a tit for tat. You're talking about, oh, you don't never clean up. Well, you don't clean up the bathroom. Well, you don't wash dishes. Like, it's like a tit for tat, like, and y'all are not going to get anywhere. Like, let's find a solution of like what the problem is. But if I brought it to you first and you didn't say nothing first, don't bring it up now. Let me say something, because I'm the one that came to you about the problem that I had. So let me speak my piece and let me talk. And I find that men do this too, because like Queen Sheba said, they'll be quiet. They don't want to come to you and tell you when they got no issues with you. But as soon as you get the that's when they want to start pulling out stuff, and you're like, oh, you ain't never say this, and then now you feel attacked. So now you're like, oh, okay, well, since you're going to bring up what happened January 1st, then I'm going to bring up what happened October 27th. So it's just like a back and forth between y'all. And you're right. Like, if you didn't bring it up first, then let that other person speak their piece and hear them out. And if you want to bring something to them, wait, write it down, and come to them at a time where y'all are not both arguing and getting into it.
I agree with that. I think in this generation we do lack proper communication. And I think communication is listening to a person, understanding what they're saying, and then responding to what they were saying instead of reacting. Respond. I like to know what a man thinks. I don't take it as a constructive criticism. I like to understand, like, what, because I feel like men don't usually express themselves. They'll more often shut down and they won't tell you what they're thinking. They'll just be like, okay, that's fine, it's cool, whatever, you know. But when they're actually explaining, it's like, I was like, okay, you're talking. That's how you feel. That's what you want. That's what you see. Okay, now that I know, I can make adjustments to fix that. But if a lot of men don't take the time to express it, so when they do talk, I want to listen. I want to hear it, and I want to be able to like kind of do like a course adjustment. And I like the gentleman I'm dating now. For those of you who know, you know. If you don't, well, whatever. He brought up this this activity that you're supposed to do on a daily basis every evening. It's called team. So you're supposed to, T is touch. So even if you're mad, you're supposed to touch. So like the lady explained, like even if you're angry, like you do like an ET touch, where you're supposed to touch even if you're mad at each other. And then E is educate. So you let them know like something you learned that day. A is appreciate. You let them know something you appreciate about them. And you can't do the same thing every single day. It has to be something new. And M is metrics. So team, TEAM. And metrics is you let them know the thing that they did that bothered you. That way you don't attack them. As soon as you're angry, you have a time to relax and come to them when you're not angry or not upset, and talk to them later in the evening. You do this before you go to bed every day. So I thought that was really cool to implement that, so that you will have a chance to talk and come to some type of agreement at the end of the evening. So
that sounds good. Well, I wanted to say that that's a great technique, actually, Kelly. I've heard of it before, and some people say it's 10 minutes, some people say it's 5 minutes, but I think you can adjust it according to your team, right? So that's the good thing. But I wanted to say that I think the thing that doesn't help at all is that we always vent when we're angry. We don't say the things that bother us when everything is cool, you know. Oh, you know, you didn't have to react that way. Or it's always when we're like, it's just an explosion. We just let it out until like we can't hold it anymore. And that's the biggest issue, because I have no problem in someone telling him, why do you don't have to react that way, or, you know, or something immediately. You can address it immediately too, and not hold it in, because that's a problem. At the end of the day, you're just accumulating things, and then eventually it's going to come out, and it doesn't come out nice. Definitely doesn't. And I learned that with my siblings, because I used to hold a lot of things, and I never complained with my dad until like I was done. I was like, get there doing this and this and that. And then my dad is like, oh, I didn't know that you were feeling this way. So I think that's the worst part when it comes to, you know, us communicating with other people, the things that we don't like.
Sire, I got a question for you. I think you made a good point when you said people often bring up issues when they're venting. What if, how can I say this? You know, sometimes they're not venting, but when they bring the issue up, it just reminds that person of the moment that whatever happened, right? So, like, what advice would you give somebody, in your opinion, to not allow whatever the issue was to become a problem when you guys are communicating? So let's say you're doing team and they may not necessarily been thinking about what the problem was, but now that they're hearing it right now, it just takes them back to that place. So what advice would you give somebody in order to ensure that that doesn't happen?
So when we do coaching with people, we usually tend to say one positive thing about them first. Always. You always say what they did good. And then if you were, and you kind of put the example, whatever happened, the situation, if I would have done that to you, how would that make you feel? Because that right there, you're not pointing at fingers. You're actually making them see the issue or the problem and making them to empathize with the situation. And they will notice, oh yeah, that wasn't good, right? So that's a technique. That's, you know, something that you could try, you could do. It doesn't work with everybody, especially if they're in defense mode. You're gonna have to be like, you know, watch your tone and you know, like it's not an argument, because that's the thing. Like, you cannot make it an argument. You have to say, no, it's just a conversation, you know, like something that we can improve. Is there something that I can improve? And you always make it look like I would like to improve this, but then put it like the other person has to take responsibility. That's kind of like, you know, a coaching technique.
All right, Balance, you want to go ahead and chime on this? We'll never get nowhere pointing the finger.
This was a really good topic because I used to be really guilty of doing this in my relationship. Like, I was always the tit for tat person. I'm like, wait, but you did this. We're going to talk about it. And it's like, but that's not what we're talking about right now. So I am a huge advocate of premarital counseling. So many people just negate this and they're like, it's not important. I've done it. And I think premarital counseling it teaches you so many different ways of how to communicate with each other, especially because most of us as people of color didn't learn this growing up. We don't have a background, majority of us, in how to have healthy communication in the household, right? So yes, maybe a few of us were blessed enough to have both parents, but the majority of us was not. So if it's not one of you, both of you need to learn how to have healthy communication skills, and then how to communicate with each other, because you can have different communication styles. And when people are upset, they react differently. Some people, they react instead of respond. It's the fight or flight. It's so many different things that could happen when it comes to communication. So I think you guys should go to a professional to learn how to effectively communicate if it's an issue in your relationships. And we do know that communication tends to be an issue in a lot of relationships. So I had to learn it, and it changed me for the better. So I suggest it to everyone. That's a good topic.
I got a follow-up question for you, Balance.
Yeah.
So I know you heard in the spaces where there's some people that don't believe in counsel, right? And especially, like, imagine yourself going to a counselor or a professional to seek marriage advice and they're not married. Like, how do you respond to that?
I would say always go to the one with the experience. If you have a choice between a married counselor and someone who's not married, choose the person who's married, who has the personal experience. I think you should go with them. So that's how we respond.
But you don't know what their marriage looked like.
Yeah,
that's true too. Yeah. That's true too. You're never going to know what someone's intimate relationship looks like. I still say choose somebody that has the experience of marriage over somebody who doesn't.
What do you say about somebody that's been divorced?
And they're currently divorced?
They got divorced, and like they just got divorced like years ago.
People get divorced all the time and get remarried. So if you have a choice between a divorce counselor and a married counselor, and you're going there for marriage counseling, marriage counselor. that is married.
I agree with that. I know my father, before he would marry anyone, because he was a pastor, licensed minister, obviously. Before he would marry anyone, he required they do 3 months of marriage counseling before he would marry them. He wouldn't marry them without doing that with them first.
So marriage would not be a primary indicator for me based on who I listen to and based on who I don't. I'm married. There was one time I wasn't married. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like I've been on both sides of the fence to be able to assess that wise people can come from all walks of life. You can have a single woman that's a great communicator that can drop some knowledge to you about communication and how to communicate with your man, and she may not have ever been married, and it does not disqualify her. You can have a married woman that's just as ignorant as all outdoors, and you're looking at her like, girl, I wouldn't listen to you if somebody paid me to. So I think when I think about who I would go to, the Bible says a wise man seeks wise counsel. He didn't say married counsel. He said wise. So wise is a huge factor for me with who I seek, right? Whether it's a man or woman. And I think you said the fact of it is experience, wise experience, right? Because sometimes you can be in something and you could completely be doing it wrong and don't know until after the fact. If I knew then what I know now, I would have chose differently. So for me, based on what I would choose, there has to be some type of wise foundation, whether you're single or married as a man or woman. I'm not going to disqualify anybody on this panel or who I go to based on their relationship status, because there's a lot of heavy hitters that have never been married. There's a lot of heavy hitters that come by way of wisdom and knowledge, because if that's the case, probably half of this panel is disqualified to give information and become, tonight, right? I don't know who's married or who's single. I'm only going by some of you that I sat next to you, but I feel like along the way I picked up a lot of learning gems from all of you, right? And that whether you're married or not, that's not going to stop me from saying, "Damn, that was a good point tonight," or last week or 3 weeks ago.
Trigger Mike. I'm sorry, Balance. Were you done?
I was just gonna say, like, any profession or anything, I think you should go to the person who has the most experience in whatever that is. If we're thinking about just therapy, great. But if we're talking about marriage counseling, I think you should definitely go to the people who are married first. And that's like if you're getting a personal trainer. If after the one who they look and they do what they do. So I mean, to each his own. That's why we got a panel.
Real quick, JR. I work in the healthcare industry, and a lot of people don't go to therapy because there's not a lot of people. There's a lot of people that have been in the industry, but they're not African American. So we go by based on who's been in it along. And what I see from the data, and I'm a product developer for a healthcare industry, a lot of African Americans do not go to counseling because the people that give this type of therapeutic intervention have been in it for a long time, but they are not African American. And a lot of the African Americans that have been in the industry have been by way of the last 5 or 10 years. So a lot of African Americans deem them unqualified just based on your age, not your experience, because they feel like as a 40-something-year-old man or woman, you're not qualified. You're not experienced enough, right? So that's one of the issues that I'm trying to solve by way of what you say, balancing code. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying if we leverage that as who's qualified, that would disqualify a lot of African Americans off the jump based on the data and the problem that I try to solve by way of therapy and profession.
So
You're gonna say something, BT? I was just gonna say, like, I never said anything about disqualifying anybody. I said if you have a choice between married and unmarried, I would go for the married. But I respect everything you're saying.
So what was the question, the original question again?
The original question is we'll never get nowhere pointing the finger.
Got you. I don't know how we got to marriage and family therapy, ladies. But all right, ladies. Y'all got to stop because y'all know this one is about y'all. Because we can't change the narrative. When yesterday the narrative was men don't talk at all. Men hold all their feelings in. And now all of a sudden we're throwing it right back at you. No. We got to be careful how we switch those narratives. This is 99.9% y'all thing. Y'all know it. We holding an accountability forum tonight. When it comes to pointing the finger, immediately after That is a woman thing. And here's why we say it. Ladies, sincerely, when y'all say that men shut down and don't talk to you, this is why. This exact topic. We don't trust you with our feelings. We don't trust you not to do it. It happens with such laser precision efficiency that we just like, we will let things that actually need to be talked about, things that need to be processed, just kind of fall by the way. Like, I ain't for it tonight. I had a long day at work. This should be addressed. I just put that on the shelf of things that need to be addressed, but I don't want gaslit. That's how men feel. That's how we learn to shut down. All right. It's simply because we don't trust our woman enough to just say okay and listen. That is the modern woman's problem. Y'all know y'all own that one. That one's on y'all. It is written on your soul. And I think B. Taylor, you even touched on it. It was taught to you from your mothers doing it to you. You know, just on and on. Yeah. It's your mama. Your mama did it.
No,
that is the mama
her
thing.
mom's deceased, so I don't think she said.
I didn't say. I said that just you come to your parent in general, and I just said mother, but I mean fathers do it too.
Daddies. Like I said, 90. You're right. 0.01 daddies do that. That's not how we get down, and y'all know it. That is a mama thing. Think about it this way.
It's hard talking to dads
Hold
too.
on.
My dad
Think
was
about
very
it this way.
active.
Think about it this way. Men are problem solvers, right? Or at least supposed to be.
Are y'all
problem solvers? I don't. Wait. Let me get my part out. Then we can go at it. All right. So think about it like this. Y'all heard about quiet quitting at work, where you're just so fed up with everything that's going on that you just do the minimum amount of work to stay there. This particular topic makes men quiet quit their marriage, quiet quit their relationship. All right. So I hear a lot about women saying men shut down. I feel like he left a long time ago. If you're just going to leave, then leave. This is where that really comes into play. We can't trust our women to just listen and say, okay. And I'm going to tell you right now, if we're talking about submission, all of these things that we talk about in these spaces, just try it out. Hold that urge back to just say something and be like, okay. And just watch him be like, what? What? Oh, okay. Is this a trick? Are you about to poison my dinner? He gonna be surprised. I'm telling you, he's gonna be surprised.
I have a question.
For Mike.
So do leaders shut down when times get hard?
B. Taylor, before I answer, I want to let you know one thing. You just proved my point. You couldn't. This was you in the back, like, let me say something. I was watching you the whole time. You couldn't hold it in. Like go back and look at it. You was turning into The Grudge live on camera.
The Grudge? Okay.
I got a question. That is what we're talking about.
Because it was BS.
Personified.
It was BS. And I'm asking you the question, do leaders shut down when times get hard?
Do leaders shut down when times get hard?
You just
Absolutely.
said that
What do y'all think the definition of a leader is? Do y'all think a leader is someone who doesn't experience?
I love when men try to ask women this. What men, y'all should be trying to tell us what being a leader is. Where did you learn to be a leader? Because y'all always asking women, what does it take to be a leader? I don't know. I'm a woman. What? You're a man. Why are you asking a woman what does it take to be a leader? And why don't you explain what a leader is?
Well, Trigger Mike has
I think if you have been in a leadership position as a woman, you know that you need time to meditate and think about a new strategy. So that's the equal to shutting down. You don't, but you still like kind of need to put your mind away from the problem, because you cannot make a solution when you are thinking about the problem and not the solution. You have to concentrate on the solution, or at least a strategy to bring the solution up. You cannot be like poison it with the and I think it's about listening, you know, like not just replying because of your feelings, coming from your feelings. It's just about listening. Listening. Hold on. By listening, you're not agreeing or disagreeing, and that's the problem that a lot of people have. That me saying okay to you is not agreeing with you, it's not disrespecting you, it's not anything. It's just saying, okay, I'm gonna process whatever the F you said right now because I need time to process it.
But
That's
that's
the
not
way I
what he
look at
said.
it.
He said this is why men check out of marriages. This
Yeah,
is
but
not.
that's the
Oh,
way
he
that
even wait. No,
you
no.
receive the
I get what you're saying, and I
Kayetta,
don't.
you're not listening.
Sada, I agree what you're saying, but that's not what he said. He said check out like completely out the relationship. Not, oh, I need a time. Not, hey, you know what? I'm not about to do this with you right now, so we're gonna talk another time. And he
Hold on.
set that boundary to be like, oh, we're not doing this right now. I'm gonna talk to you later. I can understand that. He said check out their marriages, as in like
Hold
completely
on.
check out and shut down.
Hold on. I want to go back to Trigger Mike because how I understood is that over time. I don't think
Yeah.
he meant like it happens like right away. I think that if women don't pay attention and they don't ever listen over time, this is what men will do. It may not be their attention, but because they can never get a word in, they can't speak. This could be the result of it. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Trigger Mike.
That's the way I
No,
understood it
that's
too.
absolutely what I meant. And what really men end up doing, they end up going into some kind of survival mode. So we can say, because the stats tell us so, men don't leave, especially when children are involved. So we're gonna stay. We're gonna put on a brave face because let's be real. If we were single and we didn't have children, oh yeah, I probably feel more comfortable getting up out of there. And even those men don't leave. So we're gonna do what's functionally possible. But let me answer your question about leadership. So the funny thing about leadership is that it's a facade more than anything. Leadership is a facade. The one thing everybody we think is a great leader, you know what they have? They actually have? They have excellent followers. They have followers that behave themselves and make them look good. They have followers that prop them up and don't give them a hard time so they can lead effectively. There's a lot to be said about the person following the leader. All right. They don't give them hell. They don't stab their own leader in the back, making them have to turn around and deal with what's going on so they can lead.
But
So
what makes
yes,
the
the
followers
critical mistake that some men make is not choosing a better follower.
I have
So
a
you
question.
could be right in that.
I have to disagree with you
Hold on,
on
can I
that,
ask my
Trigger
question?
Mike,
I'm being
because hold on,
patiently.
the followers doesn't make you a leader. The followers that you have doesn't make you the leader. You're not the good leader because the followers that you have are good. You're gonna prove that you're a good leader because you have some people that you have to make them follow you in a way, and you have to coach them, develop them, or something different. So you're gonna have people that behave and people that don't behave, and you're gonna prove your qualities, your skills by that you are a good leader by changing their behavior.
Sire,
That's
here's where I'm gonna prove you wrong. Has anybody ever had an entry-level job at right after college, something like that, and you did all the work and your boss took all the credit? That's exactly what I'm talking about. You made the boss look good. All they did was present the report, but you formulated it. That's what I'm talking about. You have a good.
What I was taught about what a leader is a leader doesn't push or pull. A leader has a purpose, a cause, and he just walks in that direction and people follow. So a leader is someone that has followers, but he doesn't force them to follow them. They just believe in his cause and they just join in. And I don't know if anyone's ever seen the movie Braveheart, with William Wallace, and he was like, this is what I stand for, this is what I believe, and people just jumped in and followed him. He didn't have to say, come on, follow me, guys, push them or pull them. He said this is what he believed, and he went for it, and people just jumped in and followed right behind him.
I get you,
Y'all
Kelly.
know
It's almost like if you
Jesus
build
died
it,
because
they'll
he
come.
had bad followers. I'm just saying.
I have one question for you, Trigger
I
Mike.
disagree with that. He
Kinda got
died
off
so he could
topic.
be risen again. That was the purpose of his birth. So
My question was probably 3 minutes ago. A lot of times what I witness on these panels is I witness a lot of people talking at people, but I never hear a lot of people give real life examples of what they're doing in their marriages, their relationships, and how that's worked for them. I cannot stand that on these panels. I'm serious. Like a lot of these panels, I'm like, I can't. And you're right, Kelly, good followers. Because I think that's Kelly that said that. Did you say a lot of leaders, or was it Trigger Mike that said good followers?
I said good followers.
Because they require no outcomes. They require no proof on your social media. You can literally put a man or woman on these panels and tell you anything. They have no track, no history of love in the making, singleship, courtship, nothing. and you're going to believe everything they say. I have a huge problem with that on these panels. So when you were talking about Trigger Mike, this is not personal, but since you opened up the door, my question to you is when you were saying that's why men checked out, are you referring to yourself and having checked out of your own marriage, or are you just talking?
No, you see that women are reporting. I'm talking about the general talking points that women give, not even anything having to do with me. Women are saying men don't talk to us. We're actually seeing, self-deletions on men saying that they're shutting down. They're not going to therapy. That's what I'm alluding to.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I want to add something because I think that what I'm about to say will bridge the gap between what a lot of you are saying. We are not comfortable, both men and women, in our most vulnerable state. So I think that pointing back and forth is actually deflection to not really look ourselves in the mirror and hold ourselves accountable to our actions, to our choices, and to our partner's feelings and our partner's needs. Being married myself, that is one of the hardest things, to really allow someone to be their weakest and you still love them. And so this is why when Trigger Mike was leading to why men check out is because they're at their most weakest moment when they're expressing themselves to us. And if they're constantly being beat against every time, or, this thrown back, then eventually, yes, they will check out. So what I'm finding is that the pointing fingers is a deflection of our lack of comfort in our most vulnerable state, because we were never taught that it's okay to feel less than, it's okay to feel not loved and express it. So I think what we need to start doing is just being comfortable speaking our truth. No one speaks the truth anymore. If we was to say, oh, boo, and don't let it fly, because a lot of marriages fall because we let it fly 5 days later. Why are you bringing it up? It's already the past now. You bringing the past into the present. We need to start communicating it in a very subtle way. Hey, boo, do you know, random. It can be random. Y'all sitting there, talking. Hey, boo, do you know that what you said last week, really triggered me? And then because the setting was so relaxed, it may not end up something is echoing. Is it me? And it made me lose.
I think it might have been her.
Wait,
might have been
I
her.
wanted to add to that because men always say, why do you have to ruin a good moment when you bring up something when y'all are having a good moment, and you don't want to ruin it too? So like, when is there a good time? Because if y'all are sitting there having a good time watching a movie or whatever, it's like, now I'm going to bring up problems. It's like, can we just enjoy this moment? Like, when is there a good time?
Pillow talk.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's the best time.
You know what? That do be
When you sit down, when you're comfortable,
They
when
be
you
all
relax.
ears.
Like,
No,
baby, I was going to talk to you
Before or
about something.
after?
That's the
After
that's
in the
traditional
shower.
way to do it. That's the traditional
And
way
I'm
to
saying
do
this
it.
as
Like,
a married woman. I'm not causing nobody to sin. As a married in the shower, he's feeling good. You feeling good. Y'all about to go out to
so
eat.
My
listen,
father
have a
used
nice
to always say the
cocktail.
best time to argue is naked.
So
listen, your father gave you a lot of game. Damn, that's a lot of game. But I don't think a lot of women marvel anymore they don't really revel in the joy of pleasuring their man at all. And that is probably why so much communication is lost. I think one thing women also have a problem with is posturing their man, right? So they get really aggressive. Certain topics are hard to talk about. And being I have a lack of better words. It says it in the Bible, right? Weaker vessel, person that needs to come through calm, and person that needs to come through, this can get heated. So you need to kind of manipulate the situation to your favor. I've heard some of the people that I've known talk on this say, when is your man most relaxed? After we'd made love. Or if you don't feel like doing that, turn him over, say, I want to give you a massage. What do you think a man is going to, you think he about to be arguing with you, getting a deep tissue? Hell no.
But is he taking you serious? Is he listening?
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm going to tell you right now, the only women that I thought about marrying in my entire life had this one thing in common. They knew how to talk to you. They knew how to pass hard information off and make it seem like they actually cared. It's not like they're trying to throw fire at me. It's like, I do need to talk about this. And I know it's hard. They just had a way to caress you like your mother did.
No. Okay, let me say that I agree with you 50%, Mike, because my husband said, I married you because you never bothered me. And I think he meant mentally. He said, you never bothered me. You never harassed me. Part of that is because as a woman, I feel like there's a healing process from relationship. Like a lot of these men talk about, oh, you guys come in, with this. We do. We all do though. But I think women catch a lot of the brunt on these platforms because that's where the attention is garnered. You need to do this, you need to do that, but we both need to. So I knew I was a wife. Period. I never knew if I was a mother. I knew I was a wife. Does that make sense? And I'm really giving y'all some tea right here because I normally don't talk about my business. I always knew I was a wife. I knew I was still a wife. So I knew I was gonna, but I knew I needed to heal because I knew I needed to forget everything that I knew about love from my past and start afresh. So when I met my husband, it didn't matter to me if he called me or not. I liked him, but I was not going to force his hand in love. Does that make sense? But I was not going to play games. So we dated for a year and a half. He proposed 6 months later. We got married. And my husband always said, you never bother me compared to other women. You're a good wife. You made me feel safe, blah, 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 blah. But the part where I say no, my husband was a strong man. I didn't have to prep my husband for a conversation because he also did his healing. My husband did not make me responsible to bear the weight because there's a weight that we have to bear in relationships. And I think that's where you guys do women a disservice because you make women responsible for the totality of the relationship. I can't carry you and me and the kids and the school and the church. That's not fair. And I think that's the part where men can do a better job on these platforms to say, if she comes by way and she's healed and she's healthy and she's done her work, then fellas, here's where you need to do your work. And that's the part of these conversations that we're missing. I never had to prep my husband for a conversation. If he wasn't ready, he said, we're not talking about this right now. And then I would back off. And then he will say the next day, all right, what were you saying yesterday?
That's like a man's man. He a man's man.
Yeah.
That's kind of unfair. I'm sorry.
It's not.
I think y'all do this thing. Hold on, Queen Sheila.
That's why I asked you. Are you talking about your personal?
No.
I'm giving a personal. It's not unfair. I'm giving my personal.
I'm saying. Let me get. That's unfair. Hold on. That's
Okay,
unfair.
okay.
You're doing the thing that people do in these spaces where it's like, well, my man's a man.
No,
any man that doesn't act. Wait, hold on.
A real life example.
Any man that doesn't act like this is less of a man.
That's not what I said. I never said that.
You inferred it.
Now you're making up stuff.
Can I clarify what's happening? Can I clarify what's happening?
I'm the one that said he's a man's man, not her.
I never said that.
It was implied. That's what I'm saying.
One at a time.
Based on what I said before about the leadership, what's happening, Trigger Mike, is that there's different type of leaderships. There's a leadership that is influential. There's other ones that are dictators, and it's not, bad and good leadership. It's just different type of leadership styles. And one leadership style might work with Queen Shiva, with who she is and the type of personality, and another type of leadership might work with V Taylor. And it's not making more men of a man or whatever, because some men might agree with it and some men might not agree with it because they're not that type of leader. And that's what I meant. Like, if you have someone that is already following you because you're an influential person, that's easy because you don't have to do much.
And my husband grew up with a father in a home, so that makes a 2-parent household, like 35 years deep. So that's also a dynamic that most men don't have. His dad taught him how to be a man. He saw his father interact with his mother. So that's all I wanted to add. It's not right or wrong. That's why I say a lot of people, that's what's missing from these panels. We talk in this atmosphere of not personal. So I'm giving you personal and you're saying that's not fair. I'm giving you a real life example of how my man showed up and said, we're not talking about that right now.
Like, he's like
fair? Yeah. For his communicate, he said, we're not doing that.
That should make men want to step up. It shouldn't make you feel low. It should make you say, you know what? That's inspirational. Why don't I want better for myself to become a better man? Instead, it's like, y'all don't expect too much because that makes me feel bad.
I will say this, though. My father used to always say that. He said, don't expect, a lot of men don't know how to communicate. And he used to always say, if you say something and someone doesn't understand, you need to figure out another way to say it to make sure you communicate well. Because proper communication is being, so what you think comes out of your mouth and is understood by the person that you're giving it to. So he's like, okay, if they don't get it, say it again. He's so like, I would say something. You're like, okay, say it again another way. Tell me another way. And I'm like, Dad, I'm only 12. Like, what do you want from me? But he wanted to make sure we understood different ways to communicate with different people. So if a person didn't understand, we could give it to them in the way they understood. And I do recognize that men don't always communicate like women do, but you have to figure out a way to make sure you express it to them. And I have had men shut down on me, but I'm like, okay, let me back up, reassess it, and then see how I can talk to them to where they understand. Maybe this approach doesn't work. How can I give it to them to where they do understand? Because the whole point is to make sure we both understand each other and we can move forward. And there's some type of resolution. There's a resolve at the end of the day.
So that part that you just said is actually very critical to the conversation, because that's very feminine. When a woman understands that this is not a man, this is not just a man, this is my man. That's the way women are supposed to approach the situation. It is not that there is one cookie cutter way a man is supposed to get communicated to. Women do nothing in these spaces but create new dynamics for men to adapt to be able to get with you. He needs to do this to be with me. Well, guess what? There is a simple thing, the simplest thing you need to do to get your man to love you, respect you, be there for you, provide for you, and protect you. Woman, learn how to communicate with me. Don't put anybody else's standards on me. I'm not their man. I'm not the world's man. I'm your man. It's simple. Reasonable, dependable. Hold on. Reasonable, dependable, consistent. That's all a man need to be. If he is those three things, you can find a way to communicate with him.
What are the three things again?
The issue, reasonable, dependable, consistent. If he is those three things, you can find a way to communicate effectively with him. We can put it in the top 10 of issues that men are experiencing with modern women, is that you just don't want to.
So why did you knock down? When I gave you an example of how you knocked, and you said the goal is to communicate with your man or your woman the way you did. And when I gave you a personal example, you said that's not fair. So I need you to stay curious in your ideology, right? Because you just tried to say, that's not fair that your husband said that or you said that. No, it's fair in our relationship that if he says he don't want to talk about it right now, he doesn't have to. But on the flip side, you just said a woman's job is to cater to her husband's communication style. So my only recommendation for you, stay curious, stay open. Don't be so fixed.
I honestly don't know where we're at in the conversation to respond.
I'm following. I'm an excellent.
I'm going to watch back.
Okay, gotcha.
Because what she's doing is she's following her man by saying he's not ready to talk about it. She's submitting to his whatever he wants, but you said it's not fair.
No, I think maybe that's where we were. I think that's maybe where we were contextually off. That's not why I said that's not fair. So yeah, I think for Sade said it or tried to, piece it together, but we can move on for now.
I mean, but I do think that's respectful of Queen Sheba of her man, because if he's not ready to talk, maybe he needs to process and have maybe calm down or whatever.
That's coming from like a healthy perspective. How many men know how to even communicate their feelings in general to even come back to that conversation? Some men will just dodge the entire conversation and don't give that woman a safe space to be like, okay, I'm not going to load this on him tonight because I know that he is going to create a space for me to communicate how I feel about whatever I'm having an issue with. Like, there's some men that's just like, no, I don't want to talk about it. No, I want to talk about it. No, I want to talk about it. And she's like, well, when are we going to talk about it? And then it becomes like a nagging thing. Like, how many women are being put in those type of situations where the men just run from the conversation?
I want to say that I think it's on both sides. I don't want to say that because I've seen it where a man will bring something up and a woman doesn't want to talk about it. The only issue I have with that is, cool, if you need a little bit of grace to meditate, calm down, to prepare yourself to have that conversation, at least set a time, a place where it can happen again. Because so often you say, I don't want to talk about it, and you guys never talk about it. Usually when it comes up again is when there's another argument or somebody's fed up or somebody's venting. Then you'll go down a list of things about what's been going on. It's like, why you didn't come to me? So I think it's very important that if you decide that you can't talk about it right now, then pick a time, say, let's talk about it later. Let's talk about it tomorrow morning. and then stick with it.
Mhm.
Sometimes I think certain things need to be addressed because what happens with, and I'm a man, I can only say it from my point of view, but sometimes if you bring it up and you want to discuss it, you're probably fed up because I've heard this over and over again. I'm not ready to talk about it. We need to talk about it because we never do talk about it. So then you guys are just going at it all the time because communication is not happening.
Yep.
So I think people need to focus on how important communication is
Yep.
on both sides. And I see it happen with men and women.
Can I add on something? I think the reason why we're struggling with all of this is because a lot of marriages don't have that oneness. It sounds like Queen Sheba and her husband's got that oneness where they understand their comfort. They're just willing to put themselves in their spouse's shoes at all times. And so if she's uncomfortable, she want him to take a step back. I think most marriages we're missing that oneness, so we don't know how to communicate. We've never learned them. We've never watched them. We've never prayed for them. Like it's a lot of things that's leading to this pointing the fingers things that we're not really looking at. And I think it's the fact that we're not honing into the biblical principles of what God wanted for our marriages, which is oneness. Because if you're one, you would never say something to really hurt your spouse. If you're one, you will wait until the time is right. If you're one, you're going to find that comfort space to have that conversation. If you're one, you're going to be willing to not talk about it today and hold it in and close your mouth, still sleep with your husband tonight, and then talk about it on Thursday when he's ready. With that oneness, you will be willing to sacrifice and compromise and wait until the time is right. So the majority of our marriages are missing that. That's why we're pointing the fingers, don't hold ourselves accountable, deflecting, not comfortable, lack vulnerability, and we're struggling.
I agree with that, but I also want to bring up the fact that there are men, like B. Taylor said, that will have something happen, say they don't want to talk about it, disappear, come back on Thursday, and act like it never happened, and they don't want to talk about it. That thing never existed. So I think that there should be a time where we talk. And we're like, okay, when are we going to talk? You don't want to talk right now. Can we set a date for when it can be discussed? Because sometimes it's like, oh, you still want to talk about that? That was like 4 days ago. But it's still
I think you have to pick your fight.
But I think you kind of get to that point.
You got to pick our fights, though, ladies.
You got to pick your fights as a married woman. I was saying
every conversation and everything. Being married, that's why we're struggling, because you want to talk about everything that's really minimum. If it was something small, you might have to brush it under the rug, and then like a month later, poo, you know.
But that's the thing. If you keep brushing and brushing and brushing, when that big fight happens, and it's like this.
You should never brush it under the rug. What my therapist has told me is that women, we have a lot of feelings, and they are valid, okay? But everything don't need to be said. So get your little journal, and you write that out. This mother alpha said that. Write whatever you want to put in that journal about that man. Don't let him see it. But write whatever you want to put and whatever you want to say to him, and then read it back, and when you're calmed down, and then actually just know what you actually want to bring to him. What's the big problem? What's the little problem? What's the
that's brushing under the rug?
Yeah, you gotta pick. Well, not brush on the rug because you're writing those feelings out. Because we need, as women, we need to get it out. We're not meant to hold in all those emotions because we explode.
And we're not meant to express all of them neither, I would say. So
we're
I
not
think
meant to
there's a
express
healthy
them
balance
to the person, but we can express them in a healthy way by writing them out. Because that's just like a healthy method. There's some women who
I think when it comes to relationship, I don't think a woman, I'm just saying as a married woman, you have to pick your battles, Kelly. I think you said, what about the guy? And both you and B. Taylor said, what if he nevers? Then that's where you have the power to turn his head by way of no words, right? If you really understand the essence of a wife. And on these panels, a lot of women talk about the essence of a woman as being your vagina. That's completely not it. The essence is everything that God has possessed you with that's opposite of what he has, right? Because if it was a sexual organ, then we can just seal the deal tonight by way of not talking and coming together by way of physical contact, and it's over. But yet you feel depleted and you still didn't have that conversation. So don't let anybody ever trick you and say the way you influence a man is by way of your vagina. Well, why do a lot of women lay empty in bed and feeling unfulfilled after she's done that? So if there's a conversation you need to have, and 4 days later you haven't had it, you haven't had that, and it's still in your heart, then have it. Initiate it. Don't wait on him. Initiate it. Say, hey, listen, I don't want to make this too long. This has been on my mind. make it very, very brief, out the way, and be done with it, even if he doesn't respond, because he may give you his undivided attention and not say shit, but he gave you the floor to talk. Does that make sense?
That is motherfucking true. You be like, are you listening to me? And they're supposed to be listening.
That's all I'm saying. Sometimes you have to initiate.
Yeah, coming from the man's perspective, I guess, just like the way husbands view this, I can't be present for everybody's relationship, but there are not too many problems a woman cannot solve if she doesn't step out of her femininity. And it's almost as if the same way y'all are built to bow down to masculinity naturally and submit to it, a man is eventually going to submit to your femininity. I find that too many women cross over into frustration naturally, right? If you're not getting your way, we know that in modern times, you're just like, well, I could take the other route. We could, because you're frustrated. I do not find that a woman cannot melt a man down by staying purely and uniquely feminine, because even if he was completely wrong, if you want to make a man feel sorry, don't step out of your femininity. That's when a man is like, I can't believe I did that shit to her, bro. What's wrong with me? I'm only ever remorseful when she is purely feminine. Like any woman I'm dealing with, whether it's at work, anywhere, as soon as you posture me like you would do, we just started a whole vicious cycle of fuckery all over again, right? So I would just say likely I cannot be present in everybody's relationship, but that's my only advice on the topic. Remain in your femininity at all times, and you will melt that man down and listen to what you have to say.
How does your wife disarm you? Trigger Mike.
I have received media training that doesn't allow me to answer such questions. Sorry.
Well, I agree with Trigger Mike, because I know my brother and my father both said that if you never like attack a man or lambaster him or call him outside of his name, if he ever goes to that point with you and he says something like he calls you the B word, you'd be like, listen, I don't speak to you that way. I need you to bring it down a notch. And he's like, you know what? You're right. You don't. So he brings it down automatically. But if you guys go tit for tat and reach that same level of anger, then he feels like he's allowed to. But if you don't, be like, honey, I don't talk to you like that. I need you to bring it down so we can talk like civilized people. And they automatically will bring it down. And I know my father used to always say that, like my mother, sometimes he would be upset and he would speak to her in a manner like, Mom, why don't you say something? He's like, you know what? We'll talk later. She would always bring it down, relax, and they would speak later. And she would never get out of frame. She would never get out of character. I'm like, and I would be so mad at her. I'm like, how are you just gonna let him talk to you like that? But she was like the ultimate lady. She's like, he's your father,
Was that her personality, or was that because see,
she was like the ultimate lady.
That means every woman should behave the same. And that's where you're taking away the unique identity of who God has. That means no man should break down and cry, ever need a hug or affection. So that's what I'm saying. I don't like these panels.
And see, I don't think every woman is the same, but I think she learned her man. Yeah, she learned her man, and that's what he needed. Like, he didn't want an aggressive, strong woman. My mom was very feminine. She was very docile. Right. But she always remained the frame, and that's what he wanted. Some men don't want that, but she learned her man. I think that's the important.
But outside of your father, was that who your mother was?
She's still like that to this day.
What man doesn't
when I was younger, I used to actually, when I was a kid, I didn't understand. But when I became like the strong, empowered woman, I almost like disrespected her. I was like, Mom, how are you just gonna let him talk to you like that? And she's like, he's your father. She would just stop. And I'm like, okay.
And that's the essence. That's what I'm saying. That was the essence of that. Had nothing to do with being feminine or masculine. That's who she is at her core. That's her DNA. Yeah. And that's all I'm saying. I cannot.
But she did, like, even though she wasn't like this a boisterous, outspoken woman, she was still the first lady of the church, and she had a strength. But even when my father passed away, I had so much respect for her, how she cared for him when he was sick, how she was there for him, how she handled his death. Like, I was like, Mom, I don't even know where you got the strength from. I gained so much respect for her in her later years. But I would think like, Mom, really, your goal in life was to be a mom and a wife? But at the end of the day, now my father has passed, and she raised 5 children who now care for her. She doesn't have to work because she poured everything she had into her children, and now we're taking care of her. So I have respect for her now.
Right.
At a young age, I didn't see it, but now as a woman, as a mother myself, I see the value that she gave to my father, the support, the love. So I do want to be more like that now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
And I think what we're missing, y'all keep giving people the recipes to be the same. Ain't no woman gonna be the same. Ain't no man gonna be the
for
same,
sure.
period.
Absolutely not.
And that's what I'm saying. We got to get away from that. Like, you got to be this way. This is a successful relationship. No, it's not, because there's a lot of women that's their way.
Yeah, there's different dynamics between different people
and that have gotten dogged the hell out. And there's a lot of men that have been really nice gentlemen and have gotten mistreated, right? By way of this conversation topic, is being a good guy or whatever it is enough? And it's not. We have to create enough space on these panels to let people be themselves. Otherwise, we don't all have the same, what is it called? Fingerprint, blueprint, DNA. Stop telling people there's one way to be successful in a marriage. If that works for you, then you've got to show up and have enough confidence to say, this is what has worked for me. And me and my wife, or me and my husband, have been successful by way of this. And this is my advice. This may not work for every woman. This may not work for every man, but this is where I found success. And I feel like a lot of you are very rigid in that, very one-sided, very fixated, and you have no care outside of what you think and how people and what people are going through and the dynamics, right? Every Black woman is not the same. Every Black man is not the same. Every single mother is not the same. And y'all got to start, if you want to evolve in these spaces, you got to get away from these one-sided ass talking points. That's all I'm saying. They're very fixed. They're very, very rigid. It's like there's no room for error. If she doesn't operate this way, she's no good to any man. That's BS.
What I do agree, I do agree with you partially, because I do see a lot of one-sided talking points. But I know a lot of people can only speak from their experience. They don't have conversations outside of their personal circle.
But most people aren't saying this. I asked him, I said, is that what he said, I can't speak on my relationship. So we're not seeing that, Kelly, in these spaces.
Especially
we're not
from the
hearing
married
people say
people.
that. I asked Trigger Mike, is that what worked for you? He said, I don't speak on my relationships. I've been trained.
I mean, let's be real. You're not asking me in the sense
I did ask you.
Real information. Come on now. Like I talk objectively about my marriage all the time. Catch my show, Trigger Mike Show in the morning.
No, but this is my first time being on a panel with you. I have panels all the time when people come with real life, like mental health. Check my panels out.
I mean, as the conversation progresses, you will hear me talk objectively.
And
about
it wasn't
the way
a
I
personal
carry
attack, but I was just asking for outcomes in real life, just to.
By all means, you will get them, and I'll speak objectively about it. You will get them.
I can vouch for Trigger Mike. I feel like he's very well-rounded as far as, like, he doesn't have like those crazy manosphere talking points. He's very well-rounded, and he does, like, guys will go crazy on his panel. He's like, okay, so let's say we do hold men accountable. What does that look like? So that is something I do appreciate about Trigger Mike specifically. So
the way I see it is that we try to generalize, and when we generalize, people don't like it because not everybody's like that. They want people to be specific, and when you make it personal, they start using your personal information to attack you. That's what I've noticed in these spaces, and something that I really don't like. I personally always bring my grandparents as an example over 65-70 years of marriage till death do them apart. I look at them, and Kelly was mentioning her mother, and I'm like, it's very similar to my grandmother. However, the difference is that my grandmother used to tell my grandpa, don't do that. You're gonna, something like that, because my grandpa was a stubborn man, stubborn to his core, stubborn. And then he will come and say, you know what? You were right. I'm sorry. I used to see that. But he was a different man. That doesn't mean that he was not a leader. We all respect him. He left a legacy. We celebrated his life. We love my grandpa. So, and that's just the man. And to me, that's just, I cannot even explain how much respect I have for him, but for her and what she's done after his passing, oh my God, so it's different. And she is a very feminine woman. She's like, very pure. So today, and I even said it before, he had 2 kids outside of the marriage. She's giving his pension that belongs to her now. She's giving it to these kids. They're adults. They're not supposed to be getting anything. And one day someone asked her, I was just listening, someone asked her, like, why are you doing this? And then she answered, because that's what your grandfather will want me to do. She could just be keeping the money and use it for her, but she doesn't need it. You know, and I was like, wow, I want to be as good as this woman. I want to be a little bit of her. So everybody's different, you know, like different experiences. It doesn't have to be one mold for everything.
All right, I'm gonna have Balance take us home on this one. You want to add anything else?
I mean, this specific topic, though, is a common issue. And we're talking about the majority of men and the issues that they have with women. And this specifically is a very common issue that most men have. So I think in this instance, we can speak in a general manner, because if we're talking about what women could do differently to speak to their men in a way that is receptive, I love what Kelly said, and she was finding different ways in which to present the information so it's received in a respectful way. And I think a lot of women don't do that. It's like they try one method and they'll keep trying it over and over and over and over, and it never works. And then they get frustrated, and then they never get anywhere as a couple. Collectively, they're not growing. So I think women need to know how to present the information and when. How and when are the most important parts of communication. And even though, yes, the man is the leader, we all know that women naturally are more effective communicators, naturally. So a man is a leader, but if women have that strength, then we should be the ones that bend in that aspect when it comes to trying to present the information, because that's our strength. So I think as women, we should take on that as like our role, because that's what we do well. Men do a lot of other things well in the general sense. Of course, everybody has their individual lives, but if we know that as women, take the time to learn your man specifically, learn when to have the conversation and how to have it with that particular person. So that's how I would say that.
All right, thank you, Balance, for taking us home on that one. If you guys just tuning in, welcome to The Solution on the Lapeef Experience page. If you haven't already, make sure you guys hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Guess what, you guys? We only got 3 super chats. Only 3. But it's okay, because those 3 individuals, we definitely are going to acknowledge them right now. Ray Alexander, $5, says marriage counseling and couples counseling are good ways for couples to learn and enhance their skills for communicating and relating to each other. Thank you, Mr. Ray Alexander, for your super chat. I thought we had 2. We got a member. I'm out here. Became part of Green Gang. Welcome. Salute to you. Appreciate you. And lastly, this is our last and final one. I know it's low, but I'm pretty sure they'll get it up. Lamont R. Davis with the $5 says, okay, so women forget to lead with love and peace. Men need to know that you truly care. You can bring up a problem or issue, but just check on him first.
Check on the super chat. Something else came in.
We just got one.
Hold on.
Put a soundboard.
What are you talking about?
All right, let me read it. Oh. Malevolent elephant.
Malevolent elephants.
Smoke weed.
Okay.
He gets all of them.
Yeah, I did all of them on that one. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you for your donation. He is officially the sponsor of the show. He is a sponsor of the show. Thank you, man.
We got 210 watching and only 90 likes. Get those likes up right now.
Get
them right up.
And also make sure you guys follow him on his page as well. He has a dope page. I know Kelly Combo is also always sending him all type of animal stuff, man. If you guys are into animals, that's the place to be. And he has a unique commentating. So make sure you guys definitely go ahead and follow and support and check him out. We got Ali coming through, says, Jay and Trigger, if y'all need us, just tag us in.
Boy, bring them.
You know, might need some more.
All we need is some cold water.
You know I don't tap out. But if you'd like to join the fight,
Class Clown $5 says, of course, this show barely has super chats. I didn't know y'all did a Monday night show. LOL. Well, Class Clown, we have been doing this show periodically on Mondays. It becomes more like every other Monday, but maybe we can start something, man. It's a nice little flow. This is mostly for the ladies for the most part. I do add the flavor of the fellas tonight, so that's why you see the women are dominating. But the show is focused on
Jumping, Mike.
solutions.
I know. I've never seen Trigger Mike sweat. I see a
Trigger Mike is like, I didn't know I signed up for
You
this.
see me
Got
unbutton my
Batman-
shirt. It's
Y'all got
literally hot as
Batman and
hell.
Robin on here.
I'm with Queen Sheba. I've never seen
No,
Trigger Mike
it's
sweat.
literally hot as
That's a
hell in
chicken
here. That's
noodle
why I
soup.
undid my shirt.
Trigger
It's
Mike,
cold
what
in
you eating
Houston
over
right
there?
now.
Jalapeno peppers?
Nah, it's
No,
40
that
something
Trigger Mike,
degrees in Houston.
that
all right?
Queen Sheba smoke.
No, I'm
Hey,
not.
don't trip Trigger Mike, because when Sheba come on Thursday, she be a little bit more mild and quiet. You know, for some reason.
Nah,
she's in the
nah,
West.
That time be unbuttoned his
Yeah,
top
I
button.
don't want to get in. I don't want to get in attack mode. You know, it's late, but maybe on the right
You
topic.
don't need
Who
to.
knows?
It's a healthy conversation. I feel like Trigger Mike, very
Yeah, it
healthy.
definitely is. I just want to say thank you for the people that has donated. Make sure you guys follow. Most of the people are YouTubers, so make sure you follow everybody on their platform, including on the panel as well. Let's support each other, man. Even when everybody have panels, let's make sure we tap in and join. I plan on joining some panels too, man. So if you guys give me the invitation, I definitely will come in, because people rarely hear me speak. So, and why not, right?
I hear you speak a bunch.
Huh?
I hear you speak a bunch.
I'm pretty sure you do. But anyways, let's go ahead and get this show started. Now it's time to get to the meat of the conversation. And we know the ladies like the meat.
Ow.
Oh, I was gonna do the sound effect.
Yeah. Fuller side, you shouldn't be smiling like that when that happens. I mean, you're gonna get singled and targeted out by the chat. So I'm just letting you know. Let me try this again. We know the ladies like the meat.
Ow.
Ali again, 1999 says, Trigger sweating like a hookah in the church.
You know what? Let me go turn this heat off. Y'all.
Where are you at? Is he in a cold state?
You know, he in Texas. He in Houston, Texas. So
Riverside,
it ain't that cold. It's
You in
not that
Texas?
cold.
Yeah, Trigger Mike. It ain't
Is
that
it
cold
not
down
cold
here.
where you
It
guys
is
are?
cold, and
Like
the heat is going in my house.
40?
The heat is never on.
There's
What
like
is
an
it down
ice
here?
storm here. Are you guys not
And I
cold?
got on this.
Where y'all
damn
at? You in
sweater.
Dallas? It's a little bit cooler. We're in Houston.
Oh, okay.
It's not that cold.
If something serious out there, you can literally get some ice skates.
I got my heated blanket.
Yeah.
It's not that cold for it.
It's so cold.
That
But I don't never wear this damn.
thing stay plugged.
Look at him making up
24/7.
excuses. Sweating. I'm only sweating because it's hot. I'm only sweating because I got this long sleeve shirt on.
You know what? Let this next topic come on. I'm about to fire on everybody.
Hey man, y'all make sure y'all check out Trigger Mike's show in the morning at 10 o'clock. Was it 10:30, Mike? 10:30 tomorrow? Mike, 10:30 tomorrow? 10 o'clock? 10:30? Which one? Mike, you got
10:30 seems to be the hot spot.
Man, I just threw your alley hoop and you.
Yeah, 10:30 in the morning.
10:30 in the morning on the Lapeef Network. Make sure you guys check
Central time. Central time.
Yeah, Central time. I think we all Central over here, right? Except for, I don't know. Let's go ahead and move on, man.
It's really good. They were talking about the whole phase this morning.
Yeah. Is there such thing as privacy in a marriage? Is there such thing as privacy in a marriage? Let's go ahead and kick it off. I do have a clip. The clip is in relation to this, so I'll play the clip in a little bit. Let me get you guys' immediate thoughts. I'm gonna start with Sade over there. What are your thoughts, man?
So let me ask you a question. Is this in reference to the husband and wife, or just like, okay, I'm gonna say yes, there's a sense of privacy and no privacy. It's really how the dynamics work between that. Oneness again goes into play here, because there's privacy against other people. Like you and your husband supposed to be like not necessarily best friends per se, but really, really close. Like you can be able to tell them everything, but you're not supposed to tell the outside world everything about your marriage. Like literally your friends not supposed to really know nothing. Like if he abusing you, you talk, but y'all private conversations, the way y'all do things, the way y'all handle money, just those secret things, they supposed to be kept in the household because it causes conflict. Your girlfriend gonna want to sleep with your husband, just crazy. So I think there's privacy. Yes, that's how the females are. They do it. You telling your husband doing good, it like okay. But no, I think it's privacy in that sense. But I also think it's privacy within each other, not necessarily like with the phones. but your private thoughts, like your private desires, like your goals are still somewhat private a little bit because they're close to you. In your relationship with God. So there's a sense of privacy, but it's still a collective, but you definitely keep the public out of your relationships.
I got
I
a
have a
question
question.
about, hold on. I got a question about family. Family when dating and family when it comes to marriage. Should the family be involved with your relationship when it comes to privacy?
Can I ask a question before that question?
Yes.
But I just asked the questions.
But
Yeah, let me ask my question first, and then you get
but it's
yours.
about the privacy. You asked it.
I mean,
Say
it's
your
about,
question again a little bit louder, please.
okay. Thank you, Miss Kelly. The question that I had was when it comes to family, when you are dating and when you are in a marriage, how privy should the family be involved when it comes to privacy in those two different situations?
Wait, hold on. It depends. Like, what you mean? Like privacy? I need an example.
That's what I was. That was my question, B. Taylor. He wouldn't let me ask it. I mean, privacy, like you can't come in the room when I'm taking a shit, or privacy, like I can't look through your phone. Like, what's the privacy level?
We're gonna talk about the phone later, but I'm just talking about privacy in general. Whatever privacy looks like to you, because it's different for everybody, right? So, I mean, we can go down a list of what to do and what not to do, but I'm just talking about should you be privy to privacy in a relationship, a marriage at all, or should you just be? Should everything just be an open book?
Wait, you said to family
Yeah.
though? Like I'm confused.
Well, that was a separate question, but
Oh.
Kelly kind of threw a monkey wrench in.
Falsetto, you want to answer?
Define
think-
privacy. That was my question.
Now she confused now
I
because
think it's honestly,
she got
it's a
5
question.
different questions now.
It's 50-50. 50-50. Because let's say, for example, you have the couple, your family member that's married and they happily married, and your marriage is struggling. You have to seek wise counsel. Those are the ones you will go and talk to them openly. But that's when that vulnerability, that relationship comes into place. But now the girlfriend, the cousin that's single and all of that, no. She don't need to know nothing too much. Like literally, no, she don't need to know nothing. But the married, the pastor, the biblical, like if you got the biblical, the prayer friend, she might can help you out because she thinking on a different wave. But the single friend, no life. No, the single family member, no life.
Single?
No.
But I think when you're dating, you need to be open with your family because how else can you get those red flags? Because I feel like love is blind.
Yeah.
How do you know when you're not?
It depends on your age, I think, when you're single. I think
it's important in the dating phase that your family, your community kind of vets this person out as well, like your father, your mother, your siblings, like people that are so looking out for your best interest that can see things that you possibly can't see because you're blinded by love. So I think in the dating process, to protect that woman, they should vet out, that man or that
That's
woman.
the whole point of vetting a man, right? Like who's vetting them? You're not vetting them. They say bring them to your brothers and your fathers and your uncles and the men in your life. If you keep it private, how are you vetting them?
No,
I don't think he means private by way. He's saying business. Introduction.
Yeah, don't tell them like all of your business because
I think he's not talking about social connectivity. That's hey, we're at a barbecue. Here's my man, here's my woman. I think he's talking about when we have a challenge. I'm upset with you. You're upset with me. Where are the rules? Where are the boundaries? Where's the guidelines? I think we understand the social.
Okay, well, I would say don't go to your mom and tell her because that you're her baby and tell your dad stuff because they may just depending on how they respond, it'll leave a bad taste in their mouth, and then they'll it's awkward to bring him around the family because now everybody know all y'all business. But if you have
is that dating or in a marriage?
It could be the same way across the board.
I'm just saying just some general, like if you have a trusted sibling who's married, like my sister's married, so I do come to her for advice because she's been married, she's been with her high school sweetheart for a very long time, and I'm like, okay, like I know you learned a lot throughout your relationship, like what advice could you give me during these trials? Although my partner may not like that, I bring that to her, but he don't have to know about it. That's privacy. He don't gotta know. I'm telling some of my business to my sister. It's between us, it's because that's that trust there. I don't see nothing wrong with that.
I don't tell nobody nothing about my husband. If I'm giving you a story about my husband, it probably happened 3, 4, 5 years ago.
But that's husband, prior to being married.
When I was dating my husband, So you're not a child. First of all, if you're over 30, you should have the relationship skills to be able to navigate, right? Those, first of all, to get through the first 90 days, depending on your age. That's why it depends on your age. The younger you are, you need a little bit more wise counsel. Hopefully by age 30 and over, you've had enough experience as a grown woman to be able to decipher and be able to communicate and stand firmly, right? And work that out with that man. That's just my personal opinion, B. Taylor.
Not no
Hold on.
30.
I think
My grandma.
if you're over a certain, I think as a woman,
I would probably say
if
like
you're over a certain
35,
age and you still need
38.
to gather a village, that's just my personal opinion. And you need to go to, not saying you're wrong or right. I'm just saying over a certain age and you still need to check in. Like,
But maybe she's not that experienced. That doesn't mean just because of her age, because that also means that what about her experience in dating or
that's why I said it's
relationship?
based on my personal opinion. I believe at a certain age, you should have enough coping skills, I believe, to be able to navigate at a certain age, over 30, to be able to work that out between two adults. That's just
So because you work in the health field, how many adults do you
not a health? We talking about relationships.
No, but I'm saying how many adults do you know that are walking around healthy enough to know how to communicate and like healed?
Over 30? A lot.
I'm
keeping it real.
I don't know about
still
it.
don't know
I
the
gotta
game. And
y'all don't know. Y'all don't know healthy adults over 30.
No, I'm just saying like that's there. I'm to say that there's so many. There's not.
There's a lot of healthy.
I know healthy adults, but I also know unhealthy adults.
Unhealthy. There's
are y'all being exposed to women that are not healthy over 30? Let me ask y'all that.
No, I know both. So I know women in their 30s.
You can easily just look on social media and open up your app and see it.
I'm talking about your friends.
That's a bad measurement.
Women in their 30s that are still virgins. They were courted and they haven't dated. So I know that they don't have that.
I know women. Yeah, I know women who don't have much dating experience and they're 30. 31
Dating
years
has
old
nothing to do with solid communication.
No,
You
I'm saying
up.
like what we're talking about is advice from your village. And that's
okay, JR, what was your question? I think he said your business. He didn't say advice.
Well, that's still telling your business if you're looking
I don't
for
tell
advice.
my business.
Well, that's you, but I'm saying like if a woman who's 30 years old who don't have much dating experience and she has a little stump in her relationship or she needs some advice about a situation, then I think that it's okay for her to go to her most trusted person that's going to be unbiased. And
he said your family. He said, how much do you
What
may I say something?
What lady do y'all know that don't have dating experience at 30? Stop.
I know one.
I know some. I know some.
I know one.
I know some. A few.
Not sexual experience, y'all.
I'm not talking about.
I know one.
I'm talking about.
I have a sister who's never had a boyfriend who's still a virgin. I do.
You are an exception, Kelly. Stop.
That's not an exception because I actually know a few women that's like that too. They finally reached a point where they're not awkward in their life and they're actually like, okay, oh my God, I can date. Like I'm not in the house all the time studying and reading a book. Like,
I want to make sure I'm answering the right question. What was your question? Did you say how involved do you get your family in your business, or do you say
yes?
What was your question?
Yes, like so. The original thing we're talking about is that such thing as privacy in marriage. And when Sade was talking and giving her perspective, I asked the follow-up question was, when it comes to family, how much involvement do they have when it comes to your business when you're dating and versus marriage?
Can I say something about it? So my grandma used to say, the laundry is washed at home, right? That's kind of like a saying, that's privacy. Whatever problems you have, you keep them in the house. However, if you're going to exteriorize it because you need to and you need advice, you have to know who you go for advice to, number one. And number two, then most important, I think, giving the full version. When my sister comes to me and I specifically ask, and what did you do? What did you say? How did you say it? Don't come to me like for grace because you're not getting that just because you're my sister. I'm a very neutral person. So I know that if she came up with some attitude, if she said it in a way, she's going to get it. I'm like, I'm sorry. I love you. But this, wow. You know how he feels about this? You know, like that's something that not a lot of people have. Like you have to give the full version. Okay, so he did this, but I did this. I said this. And I reacted this way, you know, like whatever. Like, I think that's the most important thing about it, because no one can be like giving you, you know, like a good advice if they only have your version, and you as victimizing, like, oh, you know, he did this for me, right?
Yeah,
That's just my, in
I
my
think
opinion.
that's where a lot of ladies, you know, I've heard not only in this space, but the women that I know, when they grow up and start to mature a little bit, they start to reflect on that's where they went wrong, because what they report is, this is who I talked to. I shouldn't have listened to them. I was going looking for validation when I should have been seeking objective advice about how we went wrong and how I could fix it. So that is you know, one of the huge problems in totality with relationships in general, or at least, you know, fixing them. So let me try to answer the question I think JR asked, and then the question in general. Your family, the funny thing about it is that your family really should be involved. That's one of the reasons marriages don't last, is because family is not involved. The people who know better, who have done it, who have the experience and the perspective, do not take part in the relationship in its beginning, during the vetting process, or during its troubles. A lot of people, one, don't have that outlet, and or don't seek it. So that's why relationships are basically doomed from the start when they are engaged, when you engage with immature people. Now, I'm a husband, not a wife, so I can only give y'all some advice from the man's perspective. But when we talk about keeping things private in a marriage, there are rules, and you know, we can get into all the biblical rules about it, but let's talk reality. Yes, you can keep things private. There are literally 1,000 shows on TV telling you how many secrets a wife hides, right? These writers are not using fiction to write these stories. They're talking real stuff, right? So, yes, you can keep secrets, you can be private. You must know, be prepared to suffer the consequences if that ever comes out. That is the real advice I'm gonna give you from a married person. You better know what you are getting into if that comes out. And I'm speaking to wives or people who are prospective wives in general. Let me tell you why. I can't speak to any specific situation, so I'm gonna give you the objective. As it pertains to your man, you must disclose anything, or you should disclose anything that will mess with his perceived dominance in the community. How people perceive him is everything to him. So if you're keeping something that, if it comes out, it ruins the perceived dominance he has out in the community, you just fucked up bad. You fucked up bad. Like Cider said, yeah, we can keep it in the house, but yet you kept a secret, and the dirty laundry comes out. And I want y'all to bear with me for a second. I got an example from this evening, 3 hours ago, before my wife went to sleep, right? So just so y'all don't think I'm capping, I blued out everything. Let me see if it'll fix. Oh, it won't fix. Let me read it though. In the neighborhood chat, for those of y'all who have like Facebook groups in your neighborhood, next door groups, somebody said, hope everything's okay. I see 2 police cars parked across from me. This is like 2 sections from me. This lady put, and I know this lady because her children play with my children. LOL, that's because my husband is a bitch. Lil Dick syndrome will get you. Watch out. Watch out. Hell fuck you over too.
What?
That is what I'm talking about. I know her husband. You just made it look like he don't got control over his own damn house. When y'all make up, you're gonna regret that shit.
He may not want to come home.
He need to leave her ass.
All the neighborhood know his.
And look, I was like, the whole neighborhood. Just
I will leave her.
So y'all don't think I'm capping. Hold on, let me turn the screen.
So the whole neighborhood know his pee small.
The whole neighborhood know. That is not cool. Like literally just messed with his perceived dominance, his ability to lead his own home. All of that is up for grabs now. If there was another lion that wanted to come in and steal what he's built, it seems like it's open for the taking now. And that's where you should have kept that private. You should have kept that in the house. Right? So,
I remember when my sister was engaged, my father told her, you can ask me any advice, anything you want up until your wedding. He said, after you get married, you're under your husband's covering. Then I'm not involved anymore. You can't tell me what's going on. You can't ask my opinion because you're under his covering. So he even told her, like, you have to keep it separate. I cannot intervene in your marriage after that point. But before that, he could be the voice of counsel, and he could he could give her advice, but he told her she's not allowed to tell them their personal private business within their marriage. You had to keep it to yourself. So
You said that was your dad?
it was my father. Yeah.
Oh, you were raised well, Kelly.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'll be just so y'all know, Kelly writing the book, man. She done told me a lot of stuff her father said, man. He the GOAT. So
Yeah.
definitely the GOAT. Miss Balance, go ahead and chime in on this. I caught you, B. Taylor. Let get Balance involved, and then we come back to you.
I see Trigger Mike and Kelly. I have an echo. I'm sorry. Okay, so Trigger Mike and Kelly, I think it's great that you guys like had your families to be that strong backbone for you. But if we're looking at the majority of people, they did not come from 2-parent homes and married homes, right? So we have to speak to the majority. So I'll do that right now. And I think that the worst thing they could do is tell their family, because their families a lot of times are broken families. So now you're telling the whole family your information, and they're a broken family, they're going to give you broken advice. So, and I think that's why people are getting terrible advice from their friends and family members. Now, in a marriage, I think that is like something where you should get marriage counseling. I'm going to keep saying that. If you're dating, I think if you have the option of older people in your family, like an older grandmother and grandfather that are successfully married that you could get counsel from, that's who you should go to first if you have that option. A lot of people don't, which makes it extremely difficult. So I'm always going to say go to an outside party like marriage counseling or a coach, because if you're coming from a broken family, they're going to give you broken advice. And I'm going to keep saying that. It's great if people have married parents and families, but most people do not. So I think we need to stop going to family and friends and getting terrible advice. And then they're going to tell you about who cheated on them, and they're going to tell you their life experience and how bad marriage is and how divorce is. Did you guys just recently see the interview? Somebody sent this to me on Instagram with Lala. She was married to Carmelo Anthony, I believe. And now they're going through their whole divorce situation. And she came out, I think it was on the Breakfast Club. I'm not sure because I don't watch that show, but she was talking about how bad marriages now. She's like, most people, they just have such a negative view on marriage, and she would never get married again. And it's just all these negative things about marriage based off of her experience. And it's sad because that's what we see when people are going through vulnerable times and divorce, and they're bitter and they're angry. They're going to bestow that upon everyone who will listen. So if you're coming to those people for advice, which is the majority of our family, you're going to get toxic advice. So we need to stop doing that. If you have the protection and the quality in your family, sure. But if you don't go to them. So I'll leave it there.
I just want to say that I think when is it okay? Because there's some women who suffer in silence because they're not telling their close friends or close family what's going on in their relationship, and they're being gaslit or manipulated or mentally abused. Because I've had people in my circle, I didn't know how bad the relationship was until she finally left after years, and now she has to do years of healing because of that relationship, when it's like nobody knew. But maybe if that influence was there to kind of help her through that, it wouldn't have taken so long. So where does that come in?
Are you talking about somebody that's married or
was she married?
I think at that point, if you're being abused, it don't matter. I think you need to go to, I think that's what Falseta, please forgive me if I'm saying your name wrong. I think she said, keep your business to yourself unless you're being abused. At that point, we want everybody to ask for help.
But how do you know? Some women don't know that they're being
we want man, woman, child, everybody to ask for help, right? If you're being mistreated, abused, scream it to the mountaintops, period. Because that's a no-go item in 2023. I think when we talk about healthy relationships and healthy balances, there's a thin line between saying something and saying too much to your family. It's okay to say, girl, I slept upstairs. Girl, you did what? Girl, we was just not getting along. We agreed to disagree. And then your friend or your family member, your mother can say, all right, child, you get 2 times in a marriage to sleep upstairs. That's not good.
Right,
I'll make it 2 nights in a row.
Yeah.
When we're talking about like, if as a wife, I would say, all right, I don't need to know all your problems to give you healthy advice. I don't need to know what he said. That's the difference between enough. Right? If you want to go to your girlfriend, your mother, your sister to say, all right, we not getting a girl. I'm not talking to him. I don't need to. When they start to pry and you start to give more information, you're doing too much. All she can say is, all right, you want to pray? What we doing today? Your attitude changing today? What we doing? Y'all staying married? You know what I mean? There's a healthy level of a conversation that your person can give you without prying. You got to know your job is still to protect your spouse.
Yeah, but no, going back to what I was saying, because like mental abuse, like manipulation, like nobody
You
knew
need to talk about it.
until
Any
after,
level of abuse.
and nobody knew because she was trying to protect her relationship when really, like, and she regrets it. Like, I wish I would have opened up more so I can kind of get different perspectives to really see the relationship for what it was, because I was thinking that it's something that I would do to trigger him and make him go off and yell at me and get in my face and be like, just so aggressive towards her out of nowhere. And she's like, I wish I kind of just opened up more, because nobody knew she was going through this, so it's like, when is there a thin line? Because there's some women, after they've been with a narcissist, that they're like, oh, I don't know that it's me. They're protecting him, so they don't know when they're being manipulated, because a narcissist, what they'll have you thinking is you're crazy.
I think when it comes to abuse, I think we can all agree as a panel, because men get abused too, right? Men, women. Let me not speak for y'all. When it comes to abuse, I think me and Trigger Mike can agree, you need to say something. But when we're talking about just general conversation, you needing to vent, he needing to vent, don't say too much about about your girl, your guy.
I do agree to an extent, because it's like, you can go to your family and say, oh my gosh, she's crazy, she's this, she that. But then when you pull up to family events and she right there, you look stupid, because it's like, you still with her. So if she's all this and that, why are you coming to us telling us all this stuff?
Okay, so in this case, B. Taylor, you guys will go to your pastor. You will go to your pastor. She will go to her pastor for those type of conversations, because it's an outside party. He's not going to spread nothing. Family won't know. Images won't be burned. So they will go to the pastor, and the pastor will say, you know what? I advise you to do X, Y, Z, because I had to do it. And men don't like it. You got to make it choice. The pastor be honest, and then at that point, she have to make the decision. But just like Queen Sheba was saying, it's certain things in a marriage you can't really not supposed to say. Like, y'all have to have that bond, and that's when you go to the pastor first for a lot of things. The reason why we're in this state, we're not praying. And tell her she probably needed to pray too, because see, a lot of times with our marriages, we're not seeking the kingdom before we get married. So we marry something we wasn't supposed to be marrying. We in relationships that we wasn't supposed to be in, and that's one of the issues. And so there's a fine line between falsifying and having fake relationships and keeping secrets. See, a lot of people don't want to say anything because they was fronting the whole time, throwing it in people's face, oh yeah, my husband is my boyfriend, how people be. So
I agree. I agree, because pastors are like counselors and lawyers. They're supposed to have a confidentiality clause. They're not supposed to give your information to anyone. So it is a safe space to be able to.
I don't know. Maybe I just seen extreme cases with friends where, like, it took her having a mental breakdown to be like, this man had a baby on me, and the baby's like 2 years old. And I'm like, dang, what? I didn't even know that. Like, like crazy stuff like that. So I'm like, that's why I'm like, there's a thin line. Like, marriage, I can't talk about marriage. I'm not married. So I'm not talking about when y'all be saying, well, as a married couple, that's not what I'm speaking about. With just relationships, because I can only go off of like the experience that I know.
I definitely think it's different in a relationship versus a marriage.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not speaking about marriage, because I feel like when you're married, that's a covenant between you and God and that man. So yeah, nobody supposed to know anything.
I think in a relationship, you're still in your vetting stage, and your family should be involved. Like, I believe in courtship. So when you court, your community, your family, your church, everyone's supposed to be involved. They're all supposed to agree that he's the right guy for you. So if there's a privacy, how do they even know he's the right guy?
And it's okay while you're in that vetting stage to come to your tribe. And wait, hold on, Pichiba. Come to your tribe and ask for advice. There's nothing wrong with that. But once you get married, it's like, no, that's between you, God,
I want to try to
your
get to
husband,
the
and the pastor.
Go ahead.
All right. So, Ali, funny. All right. So
losing your soul.
All this estrogen is I'm overloaded. Oh,
You need to help out, JR.
You don't
All
like
right,
all
look.
this extra?
No, it's cool to listen. It's cool to listen. So, I think it was Michelle Obama in her book. She talked about her marital troubles with Barack, right? Her first one. I think it was the first book. And it's interesting because most women don't admit this type of stuff. She admitted it on, I think she goes on tour. And I caught a little snippet of something she had said on her tour. And it's something that a lot of women do. She said, I went to therapy or I went to advice to fix him.
What?
And that is where a lot of women go wrong in seeking advice. You can go to family for advice. You can go whenever it's objective. When you're trying to get subjective and trying to get detail, you're automatically in the wrong. And you're also in the wrong if you're trying to say things the other person did to get advice to fix the other person. All right. So there are healthy outlets to seeking advice. Always go to the person that can equalize him. The pastor is the medium. He don't yell at the pastor. He ain't gonna swing on the pastor. Use that medium. A lot of people don't want to go there because they want to go to the person that's gonna spear him. Right? Going to your mama about your husband. He don't answer to your mama. You're asking for trouble. A lot of women do that, unfortunately. Now, about the thing that I said about fixing him, I found that it always goes best when you go to people in earnest for advice about yourself and how to fix the situation. I've done it to where I ain't say nothing about my wife or nobody wouldn't even know we having troubles. How can I fix this situation? Because I'm the common denominator in all of it, right? I'm still involved in it. And there's always two guilty parties in anything that went wrong. If you're mature enough, you'd understand that. It'd be like, she got another bad reaction. This should get on my nerves, but maybe it's something. Maybe it's me. Let me talk to the big homie. See what he got to say on it. That's what mature men do. And I'd advise women to do the same. Always go in leading. If it's not an abuse situation, lead with where you messed up or where you think you messed up. And you'll probably be on that track to never giving too much away about your relationship.
All right, I want to play this clip and I'm going to go to balance once the clip is finished. But this is focusing on privacy when it comes to phones. Here we go.
Not a woman that's been in your phone, you check that immediately. Hey, you don't go through my private shit. You do not go through my phone unless I give you the permission to go through my phone. I need my privacy. This ain't about me having hoes and all that or being dishonest or deceitful, but I still would love, some privacy. And if you go in somebody's private shit, you disrespecting them. If you rummaging through somebody's private stuff, their private property or whatever, you are disrespecting them. And women do stuff like this. And a lot of the times y'all take the jealousy as cuteness and you let the jealousy go to your head. You think because she jealous and she in her feelings, you let that go to your head as if you're doing something right and you just allow it. But if you notice the girl who's always going through your phone, it starts like that. But then what else? What starts to happen after that? So not only is she going through your phone, now she beating on your door, disturbing your neighbors. Now she breaking your shit. You see what I'm saying? It just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it starts by a bitch going through your phone. They start to go through your phone and they know they can go through your phone. Now they know that they can disturb your peace. And so every time that they want to start an argument or every time that they want to fucking arise out of you or every time they need a toxic dump, they'll go through your phone and accuse you of something. A lot of the times that ain't even there.
Before anything, I need to ask, and I'm not agreeing or disagreeing before this. So that means that he respects if she wants to have privacy on her phone too? Because if he considers that going through his phone is disrespectful, then he shouldn't be going through her phone either. So I just want to clarify that because I was in a situation where I was not going through his phone at all, but he will ask for my phone. And I'm like, okay, here it is. And I gave him my phone. And he would check whatever he wanted to check. And cool. Then he shared his location because he wanted me to share my location with him. And I was like, I share my location with my father at all times. I've been doing this for years. But I don't see why should I be sharing my location with you? Like, he was not my husband. We just started dating. So he will like want me to do things, but he didn't want to do things later on, if it makes sense. So that's the only reason why I'm asking. But point that this is not my husband. If it was my husband, like, you know.
That's a good question. And man, insecure people really scare me, because I actually had a situation where somebody went through my phone and the invasion of privacy was just really gross. I hated it so much because I didn't know that that's what they were doing. So I saw it one day. I'm like, this person found my password and it was just going through my phone. Like, I felt so violated. I wasn't doing anything, but just the violation of you going through my stuff. Like, you have to nip that in the bud immediately. You should never invade somebody's privacy like that. It's so disrespectful. Now, I'm talking about in the dating phase. If we're talking about marriage, you guys have to come up with your own agreements. If you want to share passwords and that's what works for you, then do what works for you, but have the conversation first. I don't understand why you have to invade somebody's privacy, especially if they don't give you cause for it.
I agree.
So that's how I feel about that.
I agree with balancing codes from start to finish, from dating to marriage. Like I said, dating to marriage. I know my husband's passwords. He know mine, but I ain't touching that phone. I don't give a damn what time I ring in the middle of the night. I'm not ruining my peace if I'm not ready to get divorced, and I'm not ready to get a divorce. So I'm not ruining my peace, and I'm not harassing nobody about nothing. Now, I don't have that problem. One time while I was dating, probably almost 7 years ago, my husband did something that reminded me of getting cheated on. He turned his phone down while we were like, you know how you hang out at each other's house. All I said, you know how people do, black folks, all I said, and then we started fighting. I'm just kidding. You know how they start off with all I said was, but I'm making myself laugh. But all I said was, and then
Girl,
you know, all I said was, and then they put me in jail. I'm just kidding. But all I said was, you having your phone turned down reminds me of a time I got cheated on. My husband never acknowledged me in that moment. He never said yay, nay. He just turned his phone back up, and throughout the entire courtship, he never turned it down. Now, he can turn it down now. He does whatever. I've never checked his phone. He has my password. I have his. I'm at a point in my life, my peace is more important than my suspicions and my paranoia
Amen.
and my triggers. Does that make sense? I trust my husband to the fullest. I trust him. And if the day my husband decides he wants to cheat, we got into an argument about this on the cruise season. Y'all don't remember that? Because y'all thought I was wrong. Because I said, if he ever cheats on me, I'm out. That's my deal breaker. And everybody was like, you got to. I said, that's my deal breaker.
That's my deal breaker too.
That's my deal breaker. Me, period. I'm out. Period.
You ain't going nowhere. Stop.
Kelly, what? Because, girl, you been saying something different on these panels before.
You ain't going nowhere.
I might go on a conversation, but I'm going.
Hold on.
It's a conversation.
You at a certain point, I'm for real. I love my husband to death. My husband is a very healthy man, and I'm not willing to ruin my peace by going through his phone, because I truly believe that I can trust him. And the day I can, I feel like it'll come to me, but I'm not going to go looking for it. And if it comes to me, I already told him that's a deal breaker, but also he told me that's a deal breaker for him. He said, don't ever try to play me. And we talked about this before we got married. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's I don't touch. He may say, answer my phone. We leave phones around the house all day. Ain't nobody going through nobody's phone over here. Period.
Can I say
that's
something?
Hold on real quick. I'm going to tell you 3 reasons as to why guys put their phone down. Okay. And it's the complete opposite of what you may think. One of the reasons why men put their phone down is because it protects their phone. If anything was to fall from anywhere.
How come women don't know this?
What?
That's the phone. Hold on. Number two, right? It's a distraction at night. Anytime you get notifications, now they have newer technology. But if you forget to put your phone on sleep mode or something like that, it just lights up the room. I'm a night owl.
There's a privacy screen for that. There's also a protective screen.
I want to hear the third reason.
I do, because curious.
The third reason was right at the tip of my tongue, but I forgot. But
while you're thinking of it, I'll answer the question.
I wanted to go too.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, B. Taylor. I'll go next.
All I gotta say is, Check that phone, sis.
No, don't do it.
Toxicity.
You can ruin a good
Toxicity.com.
relationship.
Listen,
You can ruin a
Check
good
it.
relationship doing
not
that.
only
Like,
listen,
don't do
if
that.
you
Do not do that.
fellas,
Do not do that.
let her get that
I
phone in
got
your
the third
hand.
reason. I got the third reason because, I mean, think about it. When you sit the phone down, you don't want that distraction because the minute that notification comes on, the phone lights up, you're trying to peek and see what's going on. You're tempted to answer your phone or something like that. You have his undivided attention. So when a guy turns over his phone, he's giving you his undivided attention.
And also distracting you from hole number 1, hole number 2, hole number
No.
3.
That comes from insecurity. Men don't cheat. Men don't cheat.
No, let's be real about it because
Men
I didn't
don't
never
what?
had these particular
Men
problems,
don't
but I the same thing that Queen Sheba said where someone addressed me turning my phone down. Remember, it's like women catch these fevers of suspicion from like TV shows, from Amber Rose. Like people on Instagram will say something and it will just resonate with all women for eternity. It's like, why you got your phone down? I was like, lady, excuse me, what? And I didn't know I was doing it. I didn't have cheating problems or anything, but I realized when I really searched myself, I had an ex-girlfriend that thought everything was always going up. My business is not your business. If you have that big of an insecurity, get the hell out of here then. Stop reaching. I don't do that to you when your phone goes off. So this is my business. My phone goes stay down. I just went to Best Buy to get a new screen protector today because I spilled water all over it with the screen up, like JR said.
Ladies,
I have two stories.
Your phone over.
I have two stories.
I want to share something.
I just got a statement. I just got a statement. If he looking at that phone,
balancing right now.
If he looking at that phone and laughing too hard, you better ask what he laughing at.
Listen,
Just slip him a roofie.
I have two stories.
Too.
It's a meme.
Guys,
It's just a meme.
Guys who cheat text away from you. Guys who don't cheat don't care where the phone is posted when he's.
Hey,
that's a lie.
When he's like this.
Like if that's the case,
None of it is your damn business. So here's the bad part about it. Women don't even realize how nosy they are. Do y'all know how y'all call it females intuition? Ain't no damn intuition. Y'all just nosy as hell.
No, that's intuition.
I do not sit
It's
in your
sense.
phone.
You feel it.
This is the bad part about it. There are certain things that a man wants to answer questions about. For you to read a text message about work or an email to ask, are you going back to work? This email, are you going back to the office to go to work? Excuse me? Is this your business? Are you reading me?
My business. I'm counting
an
that
email? Oh, you know what I'm saying? Are you typing an email? Y'all are too damn nosy. Like, I feel like men need to take back all of their privacy and be like, don't read anything of mine.
No.
This whole sharing culture and all of that, when you have the suspicion that I'm doing something, feel free to ask. But other than that, keep your eyes to yourself.
And
I hope they build an iPhone 17 where only my eyeballs can see the damn screen for y'all ladies.
You know what? I wanted to share something.
Your eyeball right, Trigger Mike.
I agree with you, Mike. Because
that's what it is.
But I want to share something. I was minding my business. I was with this guy for like almost 2.5 years, and I was not checking his phone. Friday night, we went to dinner. He said, good night, I love you, bye. Next day in the morning, like around 8 a.m., I have his mother calling on my phone. And I'm like, hi, how are you? And I'm like, good. How's everything? And I'm like, something's not right. What do you mean? I'm like, so she wanted to know if he stayed with me because he was very responsible. He will not just, stay out of the house and not tell his mom where he was. So I was like, did he not go to the house? And he was like, he's not with you? And I'm like, no. But the first thing that came to my mind is like something happened to him.
His mama was trying to
I never thought like he was cheating or something like that. So I immediately started calling. I was thinking maybe he's friends. And then he could have just said anything. I would have believed what he would, anything that he said. But when he finally answered, his mom said, he's coming into the house right now. So I call him. He picks up and says, what happened? I'm like, what happened? You tell me what happened. I'm not thinking anything. He said, nothing. I've been here. He could have said anything. I would have believed it. He said, I've been here. That was a lie. And I knew that something was wrong. And I was like, no, you were not. Your mom called me. So I find out because his mom called me. I would have known, like, I would have known nothing
Oh my God,
about
that
it.
happened to me before too. When the mama was like, "Have you seen him?" I'm like, "Shit, he said he was at your house. Have you seen him?"
This is why you don't have to go through the phone. It's gonna reveal itself.
It is
Like
gonna.
I just
It is
shared.
gonna
I was just
reveal
gonna say,
itself.
Right.
it doesn't matter if
Just
he got
chill.
caught up at that time.
Yeah.
People who tell lies like that, it's gonna catch up with them.
Yeah, yeah. it's
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like at the end of the day, the person who's gonna do it's gonna do it regardless. If you're checking the phone or not, they're gonna end up doing it. If you are not checking the phone and they feel like they're gonna cheat, they're gonna do it
Well,
regardless.
let me say, if you check that phone, be prepared.
Also,
I
have
two
to
stories.
say this. I have to say this. For men that are doing something, usually their behavior changes, and that's why it's not intuition. It's just that women notice the behavior.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the only thing. Like men, I'm gonna say men are not good liars.
No,
they're not. Because they're usually like their things are
Some of
not
them
matching,
are,
you
some
know,
of them
whatever
are.
their version is like, wait a minute, this doesn't sound right. But that's because they don't even know how to lie.
Don't
And we
speak on
notice
it,
their
though.
behavior changes.
Don't speak
No,
on it
it's
eventually.
not even. So here's the trick to it. Here's the funny part about it. It's not even that men are bad liars. It's that we have to manufacture lies because the truth is going to be unbelievable. I'm telling you right now, that is what most men go through. We do stupid stuff with our boys, and it just sounds like the stupidest thing ever. If I was to tell my homeboys what went down, they'd be like, that's crazy. Same thing that happened back when we was in the frat
Give
house.
us an
But
example.
let me tell my woman that same story. She'd be like, this don't sound right. Something in the water ain't clean. Oh my God. But it's the truth. Once you go through that too many times, you're going to say, let me manufacture a believable lie. And that doesn't usually go well. It's funny. But, you know, that's just game for y'all. I know y'all won't believe it, but.
So I have two stories. I have the one of a gentleman I used to date who would forcefully take my phone from me when I had it open to go through it to make sure I wasn't texting any other guys. But it wasn't okay if I looked through his phone in a dating phase. But then I have the story of my parents who didn't even have passwords on their phone. Like that didn't even exist. They didn't cheat on each other. They were open. There was trust. And there was no lock. There was no password. It didn't exist. If my mom picked up my dad's phone, he didn't trip. My dad picked it. It didn't happen, but there would be no tripping. They just trusted each other and they just knew that they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. So this world where you have to check each other's phone, like,
I mean, let's just be real. People need to label these behaviors serious red flags. There's nothing about love or I'm just making sure you clean. Like literally, I don't think I give off vibes that you need to go through my phone. And the funniest part about it is if you ask me any question, you're actually going to get the truth. And fellas, if you need some advice on how to get your women scared enough not to ask you a damn thing, be as truthful as Trigger Mike. That's why I feel like I don't get questions at all from most girlfriends.
Be as what?
be as truthful as Trigger Mike. That should be
Yes, truthful. Women will not ask you because they're like, this ninja she's not gonna lie. And I'm not ready for the truth. So if you want to use some reverse psychology, well, it's not really reverse psychology because I'm really that way. I'm just really that way.
And that's the thing. Yeah, being honest. Honesty.
I'm so blunt and so direct. So I'm my father's son. This dude is a Nigerian man. He will tell you the truth. He will smack you in the mouth with it to the point where I watch my mother be like, I ain't asking him that.
Asking him like,
because he's not gonna lie.
And
I don't think I'm ready to handle it.
Wait. Ask the question like, are you talking to another woman?
No, I'm not even talking about just relationships and anything you ask him, because he's just going to give you the blunt answer of what's going on.
But would he give an answer if he's messing with another woman?
I'm not talking. So that on my parents, I've never seen that happen. This philosophy,
you know better.
Wait. This philosophy I also get from my frat brothers. They said, I don't know. So this is the premise of what I'm saying. They said, bros, stop lying to these women because I'm telling you, more than half of them will mess with you anyway.
Yeah, they'll still rock with you. And
They will mess with you anyway. Are you seeing that girl? I saw you looking at her. I got her number. We went out. I wasn't feeling her. Like most women are gonna be like,
okay.
Hey, B. Taylor, I was
are
listening.
you gonna do it again? Like, don't lie to him.
Yeah, I was listening to Trigger Mike, and I mean, based off, because I believe you're talking about your father, right? Trigger Mike.
No. I'm saying my father was blunt and honest, but I'm saying some of the men I know that I admire, like most notably, like my older frat brothers, they're the ones that gave the game. Don't lie to women at all.
I heard that part, but about your father, because you were saying he's the type of person that was direct. Based off of that, it seemed like he's the type of person to say if he wants another woman in a relationship that he would tell.
I believe he would just say so.
Yeah, he would say so. So
he would just say so.
So there's no misunderstandings about cheating because he's saying, "Hey, this is what I need."
Exactly.
You know, that's just how blunt he is. That's what it sounded like to me.
I don't know.
Okay,
But there are men who do that. I know a
Yeah.
gentleman who is in a serious relationship. He's been in a relationship for at least 7 years. And he told his woman, listen, I'm never going to be faithful to you. I'm going to sleep with other women.
That's the
If
only
you want to
certain
be
type of
with
woman you
me,
can do that with.
then you need to be okay with that. And she rocked with it. She's still with him to this day because he told her. And he's like, I don't cheat because she knows. Like,
yeah, because that's a certain, he knew to get that certain type of woman, maybe because he had to get somebody that was.
But I feel like if you give a woman options and she agrees with it, then you're okay. But if you lie to her and you try to convince her of a lie, then that's where you have the problem. But a lot of women will rock with your faulties. Like yeah, I want multiple wives.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Most women will say, I'm not doing that. But let women get a professional athlete or something. You already know what you signed up for.
No, because why do they?
Let him be that blunt. Let him be that straight up. I'm telling you, a good 90% of women are gonna be like, I'm
not
one of that 90%.
Still has to finesse her. I mean, not all women. So you're assuming that all women. Listen, there are women that appreciate truth. There's women that appreciate a nice truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't just be disrespectfully honest because you're an athlete and every woman will fall in line and say, okay, that's not how that works. Some women actually have a standard.
Right.
There's a lot of women that have a standard, right,
That's
about
true.
themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter if you're an athlete or not, right? Based on how you talk to me, just your tone alone can be wrong and I'm not dealing with it. And I can have an Amazon worker tell me the same shit and I'm going to ride with him and his 7 other women. So there's a finesse to all
Amazon,
of this.
really? Amazon.
No, I'm keeping it.
No, but I feel like men just take away the choice. They take away the choice. Like, let her know what it really is. And I want to either rock with you at this level or I don't. But
I don't mean Amazon literally. Women pick men based on your essence because you can be a complete F-boy and a complete, I forgot the name that y'all call it, and have millions of dollars. And she don't want you. She really don't. She's gonna hit a couple of blocks, spend a couple of turns or whatever y'all call it, get a couple of shopping streets, but she's not checking for you like that. And she'll go back to that basic who y'all deem as basic because of his essence as a man. He still carries himself as a man. So you can't just show up.
Sheba, I'm gonna say this, and I'm kind of speaking probably what Mike want to say as well. I mean, everything you're saying, I don't disagree with what you guys are saying, but there have been women that have gone against their standards. You know, that there have been particular women didn't think that they would be in that situation and they looked past it, overlooked it.
Say that last part. Say the last part again, one more time.
That there have been women that have gone against their standards. So on these panels, we don't speak about all, but I'm just saying that it does exist. You know, and I think Mike was being extreme when he said like 90% like that. But there are some people that find themselves in situations, men and women, that don't necessarily think that they will be in there. But you don't know what you will do until you're in that situation.
I agree.
And then like depending on what the circumstances are, do you make that choice? You make the best choice for you at that point.
Most women that can we talk honestly? If I can give y'all a true game on women, most women that enter in that normally have a plan and they get caught up. They say, he ain't my type anyway. I don't like him that much anyway. I'm going to play with him for a little bit and I'm out. And they end up getting caught up. If I can really just tell y'all.
Yeah, that's
ain't
true.
nobody falling into nothing by accident. They came with a plan. They were supposed to dip out 3-6 months ago, and they end up falling in love.
That's true. That is very true.
Well, what does that have to do with the end result? The man won either way.
He didn't win. She lost because he was never playing.
Okay. Semantics. He won.
He was never playing. You can't win nothing that you never signed up for. She lost. Period. She was by herself. Have you ever shot a marble by yourself?
Shot a marble. I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, that's okay.
Oh damn! No, you talking to a whole Nigerian? I don't know nothing about this American shit.
It's like an only child. Like he never signed up for it. She lost. He never signed up for it.
I think there are a lot more open relationships than we know about because people aren't walking around telling their business. And at the same time, I don't think we should shame women who agree to things like that or shame men if that's what they desire, if that's their lifestyles. Because I think when we put shame on it, then that's why men start lying. Because you're shaming them into living the life that they choose to live for them. So it's not on us to judge if that's how they want to live. And it's not on us to shame these men if they want to live honestly, because there's too many men doing it and lying. So I respect a man who's going to be open and honest about it than a man who's going to lie and deceive. So I just want to say that. And
really, let me add to what you're saying, because to me, it doesn't make sense how so many women will say, I don't want a man that has multiple women, or I want to be the only woman, when some women will go get pregnant for a dude who got a wife, who got a girl, you're competing with that other woman, but yet you don't want a man to have multiple women or be in a poly relationship. Most women start their relationship off or start competing for a man in a poly situation. Mm-hmm. So that needs to be acknowledged.
And that's how you know it's ego. It's ego.
Yes, you're trying to take another woman's man. You're screwing him while he's still screwing her. That's what.
Wait, you said most women are down for poly.
Many women are doing it. The way you compete for a man is competing with him, already dating multiple women.
No, poly is, first of all, that's not what poly is.
No, I'm using it as like a metaphor, like not
women can be dating other men. So if you're in the dating world, nobody's free. Everybody's just trying to see who connects with who. So people are dating different people. You don't have no claim over that person. But to say they're in a poly relationship is not being honest, because a polyship relationship is all parties know about each other and they're all with each other. Now, if you're talking about dating, yes, she may be dating Joe and Blow, and he may be dating Sally and whatever. Like, that's not their business. When they come together and they're dating and getting to know each other, that's a process. Y'all may not even like each other after 2 months and stop talking to each other.
Yeah, but men and women aren't created equal, and women are the ones that really. I know, but I'm just saying women are the ones that actually want monogamy over the men. So men would be content.
Men want monogamy. Men want monogamy.
I'm speaking about like in a more general terms. I think a lot of men would prefer to maybe continue to date 3 women and continue to go that route if they could, but society tells them otherwise. So,
B. Taylor, what percentage? What percentage would you estimate of men? Just this is completely arbitrary. What percentage of men do you think want if everybody was open to a man having multiple women? What percentage of men do you think would just want to be in a monogamous relationship?
Okay, look, I say men want monogamy because y'all wouldn't want that woman stepping out and being poly.
We're not equal.
It's not the same.
It don't matter. If women set the standard, we're telling y'all asses that we want monogamy. Y'all don't want us to be stepping out on a relationship. So give us the same respect as well. I don't give a damn if you got a dick or not. Like, period. Like, you should not be stepping out.
It's not the same.
It is the same. It is the same because it hurts the same. It's the same because it hurts the same. Period.
This is where we have a lot of women get emotional sometimes.
I'm emotional because I'm a woman and I'm supposed to be emotional.
Hey, Balance of Codes, this is where it gets fun. Balance of Codes, this is where it gets fun.
I want to hear.
Hold on. Y'all can't gang up on Mike like that now.
No, this is where it gets fun.
They're not even talking to me. They're not even talking to me.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's not a weapon. Like, I'm supposed to be emotional.
No,
It's a part of my nature to do that, and that's fine. And how I express myself. But at the end of the day, men and women, it all hurts the same. If I go out and go fuck on another dude, your feelings gonna be hurt, and you're gonna be upset. So don't get mad. If you want to go and fuck Sally, then I'm gonna go get Bob with the bigger dick than yours. So if you're gonna be mad about that, then you want monogamy. If you don't want to be going out doing that, then you want monogamy too.
So I'm just being, you know, real. I guess I'm being more
You
logical.
woke my dog up with that one.
I'm being more logical in the way that men the way that men actually think.
And it doesn't matter what men think, because
B. Taylor, let her go. I'm trying to hear what you got to say. Let her go.
Women
Let her
set
go.
the standard. Men will
Hold
follow
on.
in
Hold
line.
on, B. Taylor. Let her go. Let her
Y'all
go.
already gotta step up to the plate, because women are demanding y'all to step
B.
up to the
Taylor,
plate.
let her
Step
go.
up
I want to
or
hear
get
what
out the way.
Balance got to say.
Okay. So I consider myself to be an emotional woman, but I tend to lean more on the logical side of things. So I look at what makes sense. And if I'm looking at the majority of men and how they move already naturally, a lot of them do not prefer to be in a monogamous relationship by their actions. I'm not basing it off my feelings or how I want them to be. I'm living in the reality of what the situation is. And society may force it upon them, but that's not necessarily what they want based off of what's actually happening in society. So I think we have to be realistic about the wants of a man, the needs of a man. And I do care about what men think, because what men think is extremely important to me. So I don't
how do you navigate that balance and codes?
I don't want to dismiss men and what they think and what they feel.
Then why did they dismiss how we feel?
This is what we said. Hold on. This is bringing it full circle, the tit for tat. We're not talking about us right now, B. Taylor. We are talking about us. I
have a question.
Talking about women, and then you started talking about men. So I'm back talking about women. If we're going to be talking about both sexes, right? Then okay, then you say I care about how men feel, and then in the same breath say, well, men can do this. It doesn't matter how you feel, because that's just reality. Like, no,
that's not what I said.
But I have a question for her. So balance and codes. I think that's fair. What you're saying based on your experience. So how do you navigate that as a single woman?
I didn't say based on my experience.
You said based on what I know and what I've observed from their behavior.
I said based on society as a whole, and we're looking at the statistics, and we're looking at the state of society today. Most men are single, right? Is that what we're seeing here?
What statistics are you talking about? What statistics are you talking about?
So this is what we're gonna do. Like, if you really want to know the stats of just America.
No, I'm just saying based on your talking point. I don't want to get off topic from what you were saying. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but I was following you, and you were just saying based on your observation from what you've seen from men. So my question to you is,
based off the numbers, we're seeing that.
How do you navigate that as a single woman, knowing that most men, based on what you just said, tend to maybe desire, have a different appetite for different women? How do you navigate that as a single woman?
That's a great question. I think, Mike, you had a great point where you listed 3 reasons why men get married. If you could just say those reasons that you think that men get married, I think you were saying like for a tradition.
I was
what does that have to do with you dating?
I'm going to answer. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, why don't you answer it, since it's
I'm going to answer it the way I think
he's trying to give context.
Yeah, thank you.
I think he's trying to give context.
Yes.
Marriage is for traditional men, religious men, and broke men.
There we go. So in saying that, you have to find a man, I believe, that fits into one of those things. For me personally, my man is very traditional. He grew up with his parents. He grew up in a traditional home. So he respects that and wants that for himself. So you have to find a man that may want that tradition, because a lot of them don't. And you can't force that upon him, especially if it's not his desire or his nature. So you have to be logical in the way you're choosing your partners, because you can't just force a man to do something because you think society tells them to do it. If that's not what they want to do,
you're not in a poly relationship.
Say that again?
So you're not in a poly relationship?
No, I'm not.
But you just said most men are not monogamous. So is your man monogamous?
Yeah, he is. She
He
said he's
happens to be because
conditional.
that's his, because he desires to be that, because that's how he was raised and that's what he wants. But I made sure to ask him those questions when I met him. This is not how most men think in today's time.
But if he was not, you would be okay with it, or were you looking for a man like the man that you have now?
If he was not what?
If he was not monogamous.
See, it really depends. It really depends, because how I would say it is, I think a lot of people in this country, they have it really wrong when it comes to polygamy. They don't do it in effective ways like other countries do. So if American men could do it that way, I'm really not opposed to it. But because it's just
have you ever done one?
No.
So you wouldn't know how it feels to really be in that situation. You're only going off of ideally, because you're saying, well, oh, okay, well, your man knows that he got a woman that wants a monogamous relationship and he's monogamous. There are men out there who ideally, it would be nice to have multiple women, right? But the one woman that you see yourself building a life and legacy with, that's the woman that's like, no, I want monogamy. You're going to make that sacrifices just like she's making many sacrifices. That's all I'm saying is women set the standard, and you wouldn't want your woman walking out on you and sleeping with other men, just like she wouldn't want you sharing your body and your covenant to other women. That's all I'm saying is go get it. And people, yeah, like ideally, if a man could sleep with multiple women, that's an ideal, but that's not reality, because most women want monogamy, and therefore we're setting the standard to men that if you're not going to be monogamous with me, I'm going to leave. You cannot force a woman and scare her into being in a relationship with you, because that's just how it is. No, women, you're not going to get none. You're not going to get a woman that's going to stay long enough with you.
Yeah, so let me jump in here real quick. B. Taylor, I've been listening to what you're saying, and I actually believe what you're saying as far as the way modern Western women have been indoctrinated in society. You believe that you're equal to men and that you should want what men want in the way that they want it, and you believe you're entitled to that. But what I'm saying, hold on, you gotta I literally will shut up for 5 minutes.
No.
Hold on. Let me get mine off. Come on.
But he's not telling. He
said
he was quiet.
Hold on.
That's not what I said.
Let's have a civilized conversation.
Did you just
I shut up for 5 minutes. Hold on.
No, he didn't say that. He said he had shut up for 5 minutes.
I know, but you're putting words in my mouth saying I said men and women are equal. I did not say that.
No. So I'm saying that the perception is for most, Western modern women, that's what the perception is. But we have history, right? Going back 2 millennia of biology saying men want sexual variety. Women actually don't want monogamy in the way that you are saying. They've just been indoctrinated to believe that they want it that way. You want a man's provision to never leave your house. That's why women don't actually leave when a man cheats the first time or the second time or the third time. It's only usually when you get embarrassed that you want to leave. That's really what the modern woman is dealing with, because you understand that as long as he's not taking his provision out of this home, I'm kind of understanding that that's his nature. If women actually knew how much we don't give a about that, we getting a nut off with, if you could understand psychologically what goes on with us, I'm not taking my provision out of this home. This one woman has my children. Sometimes Sally at the office likes to give me top, and I'm going to take it. Because you've been slacking lately. If women knew that psychologically men don't give a damn, you probably wouldn't give a damn either. But it's just that you like modern women have been indoctrinated to say, well, I'm equal too. If I can't, he can't. Well, your value isn't in how many dudes you can smash. It's about how many dudes you don't let hit. That's what men value.
This sound like talking points instead of like a genuine. When we start saying modern women, I want to say this to you, Trigger Mike. I was following you until you said the point about when he cheats too. I was following you. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Until you got to the point where you says that's why she don't leave. I think it goes back to what Balancing Code said. If you really want to establish that type of relationship, then do it the way it's supposed to be done. All knowing, upfront, financially, everybody's in. We're having a community. But what happens, that's what I'm saying. So that's where I was following you. And I was like, that's true. If you give her Most women, if she know up front and you give her the opportunity and you make them feel safe, most women will sign up for safety, psychological safety. I agree across the board. If we can just completely be 100% honest. The problem is most men are not honest. And the reason why I disagree with you is when you said 2 to 3 times is because she got tricked 2 to 3 times. But I think if men stop tricking and start saying, listen, this is who I am. I love you. I ain't leaving you. But every now and then, I may be a rolling stone. I'm going to respect you. I'm going to do my best to make sure ain't nobody calling this mother house.
Yeah.
And if
Right.
you do,
Yeah,
that's a
right.
different conversation. I'm for real. But I'm thinking if you come, but most men don't come like that, which is what
And-
Balancing Code
and-
said.
and
which
really,
is why B. Taylor said, no, we ain't
you're
signing
right.
up for that. And Balancing
You're
Code
right.
said that ain't the way y'all really set that up.
And B. Taylor, let me be clear that you have the right to ask for anything you want out of a relationship. That's the beauty of living in the West. You get to actually make demands of a man in that way. So I'm not even saying that you're wrong for it. And we actually agree with this. That's why I brought that up entirely. Men need to be on. I was taught this, just like Balance said. We are shamed for being who we are biologically. So men lie. Well, but I was taught, don't lie. You don't have to do it. A big part of your masculinity is literally showing your chest and saying, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm telling you, the kicker about it all is that you're actually not going to lose the woman. You're not going to lose it. So, most men don't know that and weren't taught. You're right. Some women won't want to do it, but I'm talking about up front. You haven't taken her body yet. You haven't done it. Let her know up front what it is, and get that basically out on the table. And a lot of women will mess with you anyway.
They'll
But
mess
most
with you
men
for a
don't have
certain
it
amount of
financially.
time, until they get their feelings caught up in it, and they'll go, I don't like this arrangement anymore.
Well, she can gladly take her bags on the hell up on my
And that's
house.
what they do, and that's why men, they don't want to lose that
We
woman.
talked about this. I have no culpability here for hurt feelings.
But that's why they lie, because they don't want to lose that woman. They know
Well,
she's gonna leave eventually.
The only thing that y'all are doing wrong, because you got to hold yourselves accountable as Western men and modern men. So you're copying other men's traditions that you're not financially capable of carrying out, because those men also provide for those women financially. You see it in the show. It's on TLC. I can't remember the name. You see people having polygamous relationships. Yeah. And the difference between the white couples and the black couples, the black men are making the women go to work when the white people are on the farm. You see what I'm saying? And cultivating and having babies. I swear to God, if y'all watch it, I forgot the name of the show. Sister Wives. I think that's the name of it.
I remember.
And one of them got in trouble because he was too. So the black men are doing it for the sexual benefits, and the white men are doing it for the appearance, for the legacy benefits, right? The legacy, the building, the money. So I think at some point, if you decide to do it, make sure everybody's on the same page. If you're doing it
providing it just penis.
If you're doing it for sexual prowess, then
I was going to say,
that.
I don't think the men are doing it just for sex. And something, I don't know.
A lot of them are.
I was going to say, I don't know which book it is. It's not that a woman shouldn't work. It's literally saying that she is now your helpmeet and she should help in any way that you desire her to.
I'm not saying that
help. Most black men don't own farms. So if your help requires her going to work a 9 to 5, then that's the way she needs to help the family. If one of them needs to stay home and cook,
then you don't deserve polygamy.
I don't know if you deserve it.
So there are very few double standards that work in men's favor, and glory be to God that women don't get to decide who deserves polygamy.
I'm just saying,
you only get to decide to say no
to it all. You want it all.
If a man wants it, he's
gonna
come
to the table with something besides a Mr. Goodbar.
That's true. That's true. You mean, wait, if your thing look like a Mr. Goodbar, then you got other problems. But anyway.
I'm just saying, like, eventually that thing gonna get tired. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't even understand the poly relationships unless, I think a lot of people study like what, anthropology and stuff. Like one of the ladies, I think from the show you're talking about, the lady, bad as hell. I did not understand. Me and my wife were like, look at this. The light-skinned one. Do you know who I'm?
With
the guy with the dreads.
With the short hair.
The guy has dreads. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the wife that just came, we were like, what the? And she left immediately. Like, what the hell am I doing?
Well, it was abuse. I don't even understand. Remember, they got accused of abuse.
Was it emotional abuse?
No, he was abusing the women that he was.
Damn.
We'll get into that later.
I was gonna say this. I don't understand it because one of y'all is enough. This mouth y'all got on y'all.
Exactly.
No, not exactly. Because the box, if you can, just go out and hit box and then come back to your house, I guess most men would take that. But literally dealing. So these men are doing it for legacy benefits, or there is some, religious benefit that they see to it. The reason I could never be involved in anything like that is I find it insufferable to listen to one woman's opinion on shit, to have 2 or 3 women bickering when I've already established the answer, but y'all just want to talk some more, to have that going on. So the white dude you're talking about, is it the one with the big ass house and one wife lives downstairs and one lives in the room with him? And did you see the episode where he came in and literally all of them, I would have walked right back out the goddamn house. Or are these the children or the wives? I ain't dealing with that. No, most men don't want to deal with that. That's why I guess in a sense you're right, B. Taylor. Monogamy, as far as one woman, that's all most men have the emotional capacity for. They still want sexual variety.
They can want all they want, but that's
I was gonna say, and where I think you should go into is because you might want to go out after a man like me, a man that has done so much that he just tired. He just tired. Like literally to even think about how messy people are these days and to start something up with somebody else, literally just turn my engine off. Like, nah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
These hoes are scandalous. Like, so try to find somebody like that.
Exactly. Yep.
All right. I think I'm tapped out, y'all.
Look, we done ran him tired.
You're on
I'm
mute.
hot.
You're on mute.
No, I'm hot. I'm
JR.
tired. My throat dry.
You did good, Trigger Mike.
made
You did
it.
good.
I did.
Ali was trying to get you to tag him in the ring.
Oh, he should have came up. We're gonna get you in here, Ali. Don't worry about it, brother.
JR, you're on mute.
Yeah.
My bad. Miss Nurse Fancy says retry. Rodney Dunn 499 says, if my wife did that to me, I would ask myself, what would OJ do? The whole neighborhood gotta go.
My God.
Let me go back to the post and see if anybody re-comment.
Shout out to Team Fatty became a member. Welcome to Green Gang, sir. Ali. I'll be lying on the panel. It don't matter if she's 18 or 40 years old on the panel. You can give her all the advice you want. She will tell you she grown. You're not a daddy, and you don't pay her bills. Women don't even listen to their
Sounds like a personal
Always.
Ali again, 1999 says, if you got a good man that holds you down, the least you can do is let him cheat in peace. Happy spouse, happy house.
no.
Marcus $5 said this conversation is going nowhere. Shout out to Balance.
Oh, hush, Marcus. You
I gotta say this. I have to say this. The craziest thing ever, and the details are out now that women cheat more than men. A woman will be like you, B. Taylor, be like, he not stepping out on me, but then cheat on, not saying you, but cheat on her husband and justify the whole thing.
But men say cheating, no, because men be like, oh, you cheated because you
justify the whole damn thing.
No, but men cheating, a woman cheating, it's so different. Because men will be like, oh, she cheated on me.
Terrorism.
And you'll be like, oh, how did she cheat on you? It's like, oh, she liked this dude picture that she used to date from a long time ago, and she said hello back to him. What? Different.
I hope you guys sleep well and that you have pleasant dreams.
I do got one more super chat came through real quick, and this is from Brother Ali again. He says the women went off cold, started fighting, then went back on cold and got triggered to start simping. Damn, they're good.
Ali, you next.
You know what, Ali?
Yeah.
We're taking a 24-hour break on our friendship, bro. Forget you. Just an update on the community situation. They took the post down.
Oh, wow.
I guess somebody not mad at their husband no more. I guess her adrenaline went down. Or do they even have adrenaline? I don't know.
What you saying? What post you talking about, Mike?
No, the post from my neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Where the lady just called her husband a bitch and all that.
Wow, that's not some stuff that was fed up. Trigger Mike is going live tomorrow, you guys. The value of marriage defined is what he will be discussing at 10 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. Central Time on the Lapeef Network. So make sure you guys tap in. That will be posted shortly. I want to say thank you guys for tuning in to The Solution. Balance, how was the show? It was good?
Yeah, this is cool. I like Mondays. It's chill. Mondays and Sundays is chill.
Okay. All right. I had to do a well-being check. HR told me you did fill out that report. So I just want to make sure we addressing the situation appropriately. I wanted to make sure we follow up because that's real key with the Lapeef Network is making sure we follow up as
You're
well.
so funny. It's all good.
With that being said, make sure you guys follow Queen Sheba, B. Taylor, Trigger Mike on the individual platforms. Make sure you guys check out Balancing Code. She's into health and does a lot of health conversations as well. She's also a coach, so give her a hollering shout out as well. I want to thank people that tuned in today. I know it was like last minute, sort of. We was waiting on Sheba to figure out what she was gonna do. You know how it is.
Yeah,
it was a great conversation. Thank everybody. Very fruitful. I really enjoyed this on a Monday night.
Yeah, Sway producing 199 says a woman showing her body online can be cheating too.
Ooh, speak facts, young man.
What? See, that's what I'm saying. Cheating is very different. How men say women cheat. This is a perfect example.
Yeah, shout out to Sway for that, man. I just want to say thank you guys again for tuning in. Thanks for all the super chats that has came through. Keep supporting us when we're growing. We got a lot of things that's brewing up. And thank you guys for your perspectives, man. We're going to go out on that note. Appreciate y'all. All right, y'all. We out. Hit that like button on your way out. Catch Trigger Mike in the morning. I got you, Fatty. Appreciate it, sir. I see you, big bad boy. Thank you. I see my brother Hink. I see you. Much love, Ali. Appreciate you, sir. What's going on, Sway? Long time. Good seeing you, brother. Y'all make sure y'all check out Trigger Mike in the morning on the Lapeef Network. The value of marriage defined. Hear what he has to say on it. I see you, Marcus Evans. Jordan Laundry, appreciate you, sir. What it do, Black Takan? I see you. Shout out to the greatest network ever, the Lapeef Network. It's the last track, family. Appreciate everything. Without you guys, we'll not be where we are today. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of the Lapeef Network as well as the Lapeef Experience. Shout out to the sponsor, Teach Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. Make sure you guys click that link, 30% off along with a free gift. That link is in the description. Y'all make sure y'all catch Trigger Mike in the morning. The value of marriage defined. It's the last track, family. Bye.